Chapter 2156. In the Sky Universe Demon Sect, an old man was slaughtering. Wherever his sword light passed, several evil spirit sect disciples were killed. This old man was Lu Ming's master, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. Kill all these bastards. With a roar, a ferocious tiger roared and soared into the sky. With a slap, it killed a few evil spirit sect disciples. This was also an absolute saint, a powerhouse of the demon castle. Then, more people rioted. All these years, they had been controlled by the restrictions and had been bullied. Now that the restrictions had disappeared, everyone immediately rioted and wanted to rush out. You're courting death. Within the many demonic mountains, terrifying auras rose up one after another. The evil spirit sect and the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace had arranged for many experts to be here. Apart from the old lady and the rest, there were more than 10 absolute sage experts. However, there were no quasi-thearchs. They had all been killed by Lu Ming. More than 10 absolute saints stepped into the air and charged toward the Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the tiger. Lu Ming waved his hand, and more than 10 spears condensed in the air. Swoosh! Swoosh! These spears turned into streaks of light and stabbed toward those absolute saints. Oh no, no, these absolute saints sensed a terrifying danger and wanted to dodge, but it was too late. Poof! Poof! More than 10 absolute saints were all pierced by the spears and died on the spot. Their bodies fell to the ground. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the tiger were shocked as they looked toward Lu Ming and the others. Upon seeing Lu Ming, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's eyes widened in joy. Ming-er. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was truly ecstatic. Just now, those spears had been shot out by Lu Ming. They had instantly killed more than 10 absolute saints, leaving him stunned. He understood that after not seeing him for so many years, his disciples' cultivation had completely surpassed his. Master. Lu Ming also smiled. Kill, kill. At this moment, the Sky Universe Demon Sect was in complete chaos. The others saw that the evil spirit sect and D family's absolute saints were killed instantly. At this time, there were no more experts left. The people of the major sects took the opportunity to counterattack and attacked the people of the evil spirit sect and D family. The scene was in chaos. Ming, let's talk later. Kill the enemy first. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Then, he turned into a beam of sword light and charged towards the people from the evil spirit sect and D family. The absolute saints of the evil spirit sect and D family were no match for the Valley Master and the others. The situation was one-sided. The Sky Universe Demon Sect had gathered more than half of the people in the Tsang state. In terms of numbers, they had far more people than the evil spirit sect and the D family. In the past, because he had taken control of everyone's souls, he didn't need many people to manage them. Now that the soul restriction had been broken, and all of the Paragon Saints had been killed, the situation was completely one-sided. Lu Ming Sect, Sex King Sect, Master, Autumn. At that moment, Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Qiu Yu. Earlier, Qiu Yu hadn't used her full strength at all. Boom! God Emperor Sect Master Sect. The law of yin and yang turned into a terrifying destructive force and blasted towards the soul-destroying Shakyamuni. The laws of yin and yang. You have a king body. Shakyamuni's soul extinguisher screamed in horror. Boom! King Sect Master God was sent flying by Autumn Moon. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and almost exploded. Run, run! King Sect Master God turned around and ran. Ordinary martial emperors were no match for Kings. His talent was limited. Although he had been a martial emperor for many years, he was only a one-star void arch. His battle prowess was not strong and he was no match for Autumn Moon. Die! Autumn Moon shouted. She waved her hands, and 2 scimitars appeared. They turned into a yin-yang wheel and charged toward King Sect Master God. King Sect Master God roared and tried his best to block, but he couldn't block it at all. His body was pierced through by the yin-yang wheel. King Sect Master God dragged his broken body and fled frantically. However, the yin-yang wheel caught up and crushed down. Bang! King Sect Master God's body exploded. His soul let out a shrill scream that resounded throughout the demon sect. Then, his soul was also destroyed and turned into ashes. King Sect Master God is dead. A martial emperor has been killed. Everyone was shocked. A martial emperor was killed just like that. Everyone was shocked. After that, the morale of the various sects in Tsang state increased greatly. On the other hand, the morale of the evil spirit sect and the D family was greatly reduced. They began to flee. Junior brother, let's go and kill the enemies too. Long Yuanshan and Yang Tianzong also charged toward the crowd. Lu Ming stepped into the air. Many long spears condensed around his body. From time to time, a long spear would fly out. Every time a long spear flew out, it would kill a powerful figure on the other side. There was no suspense in this battle. Not long after, almost all the people of the evil spirit sect and the D family were killed. Basically, no one escaped. At this moment, Autumn Moon stepped into the air and walked toward Lu Ming. Everyone's gaze fell on Autumn Moon. She was a martial emperor. Such a young and beautiful martial emperor was amazing. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master, the Tiger, and a few others were all sages. At this moment, they were flying toward Autumn Moon. Thank you for your help, Martial Emperor. Thank you, Martial Emperor. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others bowed respectfully to Autumn Moon. In their eyes, a martial emperor was a supreme existence. They guessed that Autumn Moon must be from the ancient moon's sacred ground. They were amazed. The ancient moon's sacred ground was indeed a sacred ground. It was amazing that they had such a young martial emperor. Autumn Moon's beautiful face blushed slightly. She was a little embarrassed and said softly, "You don't have to thank me. Young master asked me to do it. Moreover, you are his family and friends. I should help." What? Young master? Everyone was stunned. Autumn Moon, such a peerless beauty, was actually someone's maid? Such a young martial emperor was a maid? Then what kind of person was the young master that Autumn Moon mentioned? Many people began to look around, looking for the young master that Autumn Moon mentioned. At this moment, Autumn Moon silently came to Lu Ming's side. Young master. Autumn Moon called out softly. What? Nest. What did I just hear? There was a sudden silence at the scene. Everyone was petrified. All of them stared at Lu Ming in a daze. Their eyeballs were about to pop out. The young master that Autumn Moon mentioned was actually Lu Ming? Long Yuanshan and Yang Tianzong were also petrified. Previously, they thought that Autumn Moon was an expert that Lu Ming had invited from the ancient moon's sacred ground. Never in their wildest dreams would they have thought that Autumn Moon was actually Lu Ming's maid. A young martial emperor as a maid. Everyone felt that their minds were frozen and their faces were filled with confusion. Lu Ming. He is Lu Ming. It's really Lu Ming. Many people exclaimed. They finally recognized Lu Ming. Lu Ming's name had shaken the Tsang state. He was the #1 genius in the Tsang state. Everyone knew about him. Now that many people realized it, they were even more shocked. Master, second senior brother, third senior brother, although Autumn Moon is my maid, I have always treated her as my family. Lu Ming held Autumn Moon's hand and smiled. Chapter 2157. Autumn Moon blushed slightly as she stood obediently beside Lu Ming. Everyone was envious. She was a martial emperor, but she was so obedient. This was simply the dream of all men. However, many people immediately thought of Lu Ming's battle prowess. Just now, many people had seen Lu Ming's attack. The absolute saint couldn't withstand a single blow from Lu Ming and was instantly killed. Lu Ming's battle prowess was also incomparably terrifying. Could it be that Lu Ming had also broken through to the Sage realm or even the Quasi-Thearch realm? Many people sighed. When Lu Ming was in Song state, he had already displayed terrifying talent and suppressed the younger generation. Later on, when he became a sage, he could even kill enemies one level higher. Now, if Lu Ming had already broken through to the absolute saint realm, it would naturally be easy for him to kill an absolute saint of the same level. Many people looked at Lu Ming with awe and respect in their eyes. Lu Ming's current strength was undoubtedly at the peak of Tsang state. Master, where is the headquarters of the evil spirit sect? Lu Ming looked at the Cloud Dragon Valley Master and asked. He didn't see the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect Master and the others in the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master still had a smile on his face. When he heard this, he said, the headquarters of the Evil Spirit Sect is in the D Clan. Many people of the Evil Spirit Sect are there. The D Clan? Lu Ming whispered as killing intent flashed in his eyes. Master, are all the people from the sects in the Tsang state here? Lu Ming asked again. No, most of them are gathered here. There are also some scattered in the original sections. However, there aren't many experts of the evil spirit sect in those sections. This time, the soul restriction has been broken. I believe many people will take the opportunity to escape. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Lu Ming nodded. Just like the Dragon God Valley, there were also some people, but not many. Master, everyone, can you please spread the news and ask everyone to gather here? Lu Ming said. All right, I'll spread the news now and get everyone to gather here. The evil spirit sect has suffered heavy losses in this battle, so they will definitely take action. Cloud Dragon Valley Master nodded. Immediately, everyone spread the news. Lu Ming smiled. The reason he had sent out the news and gathered everyone was not because he wanted to gather strength for defense, but because he wanted to attack. He wanted to attack the D family. If news of this spread out, the D family and the evil spirit sect would definitely be shaken. In that case, they would gather all their experts and wipe them out in one fell swoop. This was Lu Ming's plan, to wipe them out in one fell swoop. If they split up, Lu Ming would have to run from place to place, which would be too troublesome. The others naturally didn't know what he was thinking. They thought that he was gathering his strength to defend himself. The news spread very quickly. Tsang Continent, Cloud Continent, and Emperor Continent were shaken. Lu Ming, the prodigy of Tsang Continent, had returned with a martial emperor. As soon as he returned, he killed a Dharma king of the evil spirit sect. The fall of a martial emperor shocked everyone in the 3 continents. In Tsang Continent, most of the people who had surrendered to the evil spirit sect and were controlled by them had escaped from the evil spirit sect's control and rushed toward the Sky Universe Demon sect. In the next 10 days, more and more people gathered at the Sky Universe Demon sect. Back then, there were 13 overlord sects in Tsang Continent, countless small sects, and many experts. For a time, the Sky Universe Demon sect was filled with people. Of course, sects like the Sky Universe Demon sect, the Poison sect, and the Blood Demon House that had long surrendered to the Evil Spirit sect were already considered members of the Evil Spirit sect. However, they didn't see anyone from the Heavenly Divine sect. In these 10 days, the 3 continents couldn't calm down. It could be said that the wind and clouds were surging. Everyone felt a stifling aura. Everyone knew that a great battle was about to erupt. The evil spirit sect had suffered such great losses, so they wouldn't let it go just like that. They would definitely take action. These 10 days seemed calm on the surface, but it was actually the calm before the storm. It was very stifling. The D clan was located in the best area of the Emperor region. The origin energy here was rich, and there were many outstanding people. Numerous palaces were located in this area. The palaces were everywhere, just like the heavenly palaces in the legends. During this period of time, the palace was not peaceful. Many people were discussing one thing: which was Lu Ming's domineering return with a martial emperor. In one of the palaces, a few people were discussing something. It was the Heavenly Divine sect master and a few elders. Over the years, the Heavenly Divine sect had almost completely surrendered to the evil spirit sect. They were loyal to the evil spirit sect, so they had obtained a lot of resources and their cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. Sect Master, now that Lu Ming has returned with a martial emperor from the outside world, it looks like he wants to destroy the evil spirit sect. Now that our soul restriction has been broken, should we take the opportunity to leave the evil spirit sect and leave this place? An elder asked. Fool. The Heavenly Divine sect master scolded. I heard that Lu Ming only brought a martial emperor back. What use can a martial emperor be? Also, let me tell you, the evil spirit sect's waters are deep. Do you think that the evil spirit sect only has a few law kings? Could it be that the evil spirit sect has other martial emperors in secret? The expressions of the Heavenly Divine sect's elders changed. That's right. So that Lu Ming is just courting death. Now, not only can we not leave the evil spirit sect, but we also have to express our loyalty to the evil spirit sect. This way, the evil spirit sect will think even more highly of us. The Heavenly Divine sect master looked confident. Sect master is wise. Several elders began to flatter him. In another palace, the Sky Universe Demon sect master, the Poison sect master, and the others were also discussing something. Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to really bring back a powerhouse. But so what? Only death awaits you. The Sky Universe Demon sect master sneered. The atmosphere in the three states became more and more solemn. At this time, Xuanixin and Tian Shui had also arrived at the Sky Universe Demon sect. When they saw the Cloud Dragon Valley Master, they were naturally happy. Xuanixin and Tian Shui also brought news that the evil spirit sect and D family's experts in the Cloud State had all gathered at the D family's headquarters. Good. Lu Ming revealed a smile. He then gathered everyone and started the discussion. Everyone, now that everyone from the evil spirit sect and D family has gathered at the D family, I have decided to attack the D family and destroy the evil spirit sect and D family in one fell swoop. Lu Ming said loudly. What? Attack the D family? That's courting death. Everyone was shocked and looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. Lu Ming, is what you said true? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was also in disbelief. Lu Ming actually wanted to attack the D family. Now, the D family and evil spirit sect's experts had gathered. Unlike the Sky Universe Demon sect, there was definitely more than one martial emperor expert. Wouldn't they be courting death if they went to attack? That's right, I'm waiting for them to gather before attacking. It's just nice to wipe them out in one fell swoop. Lu Ming said. Many people were speechless. Chapter 2158. Many people looked at each other. They had thought that Lu Ming had gathered the people of the various sects to defend against the attack of the evil spirit sect. It turned out that he was waiting for the experts of the evil spirit sect and the D family to gather and then wipe them out. This idea was too crazy. Ming, did you invite other experts, such as other martial emperors? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master asked. No, it's just us. Lu Ming said. The scene was silent. Many people were a little stunned. Young hero Lu Ming, it's not that I look down on you, but the evil spirit sect has at least 2 guardian kings. Moreover, the head of the D family, D Shi Tian, is a terrifying martial emperor. If we go there, it's no doubt that we will be throwing eggs at a rock. That's right. Our current plan is to gather together and then break out of the 3 states and go to other states. A few old men spoke. They were the grand elders of several sects, and their cultivation was at the sage stage. I'm naturally confident in doing so. Why would I joke about my own life? Moreover, my master and senior brothers are all together. Lu Ming said. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. That was indeed the case. Lu Ming was a prodigy. How could he be so reckless and send himself to death when he knew that he was no match for them? Did Lu Ming have any trump cards? All right, Ming, I'll go with you to the D family. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said first. I'll go too. Long Yuanshan and Yang Tianzong also spoke. I'll go too. Then, the tiger from the demon castle also spoke. Then, many people agreed to go with Lu Ming to the D family. However, some people still didn't speak. What about you? What do you plan to do if you don't go? Lu Ming looked at those who didn't speak. We plan to enter the Cloud Sea mountain range and go to other states. An old man with a hooked nose said. This old man with a hooked nose was a grand elder of the Nine Heaven Sword sect. He was also a sage stage cultivator. Oh, that's good. If you don't go and the D family and evil spirit sect are destroyed by me, there will be no share of the 3 states. Lu Ming said coldly. The expressions of the hook-nosed old man and the others changed slightly. Lu Ming's meaning was very clear. If the evil spirit sect and the D family were destroyed, then those who had not participated in it would not have the right to stay in the 3 states. Those who were unwilling to go had gloomy expressions as their gazes shifted. All right, we've made up our mind. Let's go. Lu Ming leaped into the air. With a wave of his hand, 3 puppets appeared in the sky. One of them was the eagle puppet that Lu Ming often used. The other 2 were also bird-type puppets that Lu Ming had bought in the Divine Golem sect. Their speed was not the slightest bit inferior to the eagle puppet. The 3 puppets rapidly grew in size. When they spread their wings, they were at least 1,000 meters long. They were like 3 small mountains that filled the sky. Master, all of you come up. Lu Ming shouted. Those who were willing to follow Lu Ming to the D family all leaped into the air and flew onto the puppets. A layer of light spread out from the puppets and enveloped everyone. Then, with a thought from Lu Ming, the 3 puppets flew into the sky and disappeared without a trace. So fast. The rest of the people were tongue-tied. Brother Wang, what are we going to do next? Someone asked the hook-nosed old man of the Nine Heaven Sword sect. That Lu Ming is too arrogant. The strength of the evil spirit sect and the D family is definitely beyond imagination. They will only die if they go. The hook-nosed old man sneered. But I think that Lu Ming is full of confidence. Maybe he has some trump cards. He is a peerless prodigy. If he really has some trump cards, then maybe. Someone else said. The hook-nosed old man's eyes flashed as he thought of all kinds of possibilities. Why don't we do this? We'll head to the D clan and hide in the dark to observe. If Lu Ming is defeated and killed, we'll escape to the Cloud Sea mountain range from Emperor District and head to other places. If Lu Ming defeats the D clan and the evil spirit sect, we'll take the opportunity to strike and obtain some benefits. The hook-nosed old man said. Brother Wang is wise. Senior Wang is wise. The others all started to flatter Qin Wendian. Immediately, they too moved, heading towards the D clan. Lu Ming controlled the 3 puppets at an astonishing speed. It didn't take long for them to enter the Emperor District. What a fast speed! The others were shocked. It didn't take long for them to pass through the Tsang state and enter the Emperor District. This speed was shocking. Ordinary flying shuttles couldn't compare at all. Many people looked at Lu Ming. This top prodigy of the Tsang state must have been extraordinary in these years. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master stroked his beard and smiled. He was very satisfied with this disciple. Not long after, mountain peaks appeared in front of them. There were many palaces built on the mountain peaks. They had arrived at the D family. D family. There was a glint in Lu Ming's eyes. Clang. Clang. The D family had naturally noticed Lu Ming and the others' arrival. A deafening bell rang. Then, figures flashed in all the palaces. It's Lu Ming. A voice sounded. The people of the D family and the evil spirit sect were shocked. They never expected that Lu Ming would dare to take the initiative to attack. Originally, they were going to send out an army in 2 days to annihilate Lu Ming in one fell swoop. They didn't expect Lu Ming to take the initiative to attack. A large number of figures appeared on the mountain in front of the D family. They were all experts of the D family and the evil spirit sect. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the puppets. He stood in the air. He saw the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect, Heavenly God Sect Master, and the others in the crowd. Young Master, I'll make the first move. Qiu Moon said to Lu Ming. Be careful. Lu Ming said. Qiu Moon nodded and stepped into the air, heading toward the D family. His martial emperor cultivation suddenly erupted. The vast martial emperor's aura pressed down on the D family like raging waves. Many people's faces changed drastically as they felt the terrifying pressure. Boom! Boom! At this moment, 2 terrifying auras also erupted from the Emperor Divine Palace. 2 beams of light shot into the sky and defeated Qiu Moon's aura in one fell swoop. In the next moment, 2 figures appeared in the air. They were 2 old men. Their bodies were skinny like 2 dried corpses, and their bodies were wrapped in black robes. Spirit-devouring king. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Lu Ming had seen one of them before. It was the spirit-devouring king who was suppressed in the heavenly wind plains, one of the 6 great forbidden lands in the Tsang state. When the spirit-devouring king had escaped, Lu Ming had obtained the Tai Chi array disc from him. As for the other person, Lu Ming had never seen him before. He guessed that he was the other guardian king of the evil spirit sect. Kiki, such a young martial emperor. Your blood qi must be very strong. Let me devour you. Maybe it will help me break through my cultivation. The spirit-devouring king let out a strange laugh. His body moved, and he pounced toward Qiu Moon. Qiu Moon struck out with his palm. The laws of yin and yang moved with his palm and blasted toward the spirit-devouring king. Chapter 2159. Monarch Body, Monarch Dao Law. Spirit-devouring Dharma King roared. His cultivation was a 1-star void emperor, so he naturally could not block Autumn Moon's attack and was sent flying. Amazing! The Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others were invigorated when they saw Autumn Moon send the spirit-devouring Dharma King flying. So it's a monarch body. Looks like you're a prodigy from the ancient moon's sacred ground. Just nice to kill you, hee hee. The other Dharma King sneered, and a black light erupted from his body. It was as if ghosts were wailing and wolves were howling. Swoosh! He rushed toward Autumn Moon, and the black light enveloped Autumn Moon. There seemed to be endless evil spirits in the black light. 2-star Void Emperor. Autumn Moon's gaze was slightly serious. Then, she waved her small hand, and 2 curved blades flew out, turning into the yin-yang wheel. The yin-yang wheel spun rapidly, erupting with destructive power as it attacked the other party. Boom! The 2 attacks collided, and the evil spirits in the black light were constantly annihilated. However, Autumn Moon's attack was also blocked. The 1,000-ghost Dharma King has also been blocked. The expressions of the evil spirit sect members changed. The 1,000-ghost Dharma King was an extremely powerful Dharma King. He was much stronger than the spirit-devouring Dharma King, but he was still blocked by Autumn Moon. Dong! 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 Following that, Autumn Moon and the 1,000-ghost Dharma King continued to exchange blows. The 2 of them fought fiercely, and it was difficult to determine the victor. Lu Ming was relieved. The other party was only a 2-star Void Emperor. With Autumn Moon's battle strength, she was enough to block the other party. If the other party was too strong, Lu Ming would directly take action and suppress the other party. This way, it would be a good opportunity for Autumn Moon to train. Little girl, your strength is not bad, but you'll at most be on par with me. However, those people will all die. The thousand-ghost Dharma king sneered. Autumn Moon's expression was calm. She knew Lu Ming's strength. These people wanted to kill Lu Ming. They were just courting death. Autumn Moon and the thousand-ghost Dharma king exchanged another blow, and both of them retreated a distance. Whoosh! The devouring law moved and appeared on the other side of Autumn Moon. Its cold aura enveloped Autumn Moon. Together with the thousand-ghost Shakyamuni, they blocked off Autumn Moon's escape route. Little girl, a mere martial emperor like you dares to come here? Don't even think about leaving today. However, before that, I'll show you how those people are killed. Spirit-devouring Shakyamuni sneered and gave the order, everyone, kill these invaders. Leave no one alive. Kill. Many people from the D clan roared, as powerful experts stepped out one after another. There were people from the D family, Evil Spirit Sect, Heavenly God Sect, and Heavenly Universe Demon Sect. For instance, the Sect Master of the Heavenly Divinity Sect, the Sect Master of the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect, and the House Master of the Blood Demon House had their eyes on Lu Ming. Prepare to meet the enemy. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master roared. Master, all of you stay outside. Wait for a while and kill those who escape. Lu Ming's words stunned the Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others. Then, they saw Lu Ming step forward alone, facing the Sect Master of the Heavenly Divinity Sect and the others. Leave this brat to me. The Sect Master of the Heavenly Divinity Sect shouted coldly. His eyes were cold, and the murderous intent on his body was incomparably dense. At the same time, the aura he exuded was extremely shocking. He had reached the Boundary Emperor realm. Old dog, looks like you've been working hard for the Evil Spirit Sect all these years. You've actually advanced to the Boundary Emperor realm. Lu Ming mocked. The Sect Master of the Heavenly Divinity Sect had definitely received a lot of resources from the Evil Spirit Sect. Otherwise, his cultivation couldn't have advanced so quickly. However, the Sect Master of the Heavenly Divinity Sect had already exhausted his potential. It was impossible for him to break through to the Martial Emperor realm in his lifetime. Lu Ming, die. The Sect Master of the Heavenly Divinity Sect shouted coldly. His murderous intent was dense as he charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled faintly, and a puppet appeared. This was a humanoid puppet with a saber on its back. At this moment, the saber was unsheathed. It also had a Boundary Emperor cultivation as it charged towards the Sect Master of the Heavenly Divinity Sect. The Sect Master of the Heavenly Divinity Sect was immediately blocked. This is a Boundary Emperor puppet. You actually have a Boundary Emperor puppet. The Sect Master of the Heavenly Divinity Sect roared. He was extremely shocked, but at the same time, he revealed a look of greed. This was a Boundary Emperor puppet. If he could obtain it, it would definitely be a great battle force. The Sect Master of the Heavenly Divinity Sect fought a great battle with the Boundary Emperor puppet. However, the puppet did not fear death and attacked crazily. For a time, the Sect Master of the Heavenly Divinity Sect was suppressed. Lu Ming, I'll kill you. Another figure charged towards Lu Ming. It was the House Master of the Blood Demon Tower. In the past few years, the House Master's cultivation had also skyrocketed, reaching the Boundary Emperor realm. Lu Ming did not even look. With a wave of his hand, a puppet appeared and charged towards the House Master of the Blood Demon Tower. It also suppressed the House Master of the Blood Demon Tower. Another Quasi-Emperor realm puppet. Many people were flabbergasted, their eyes turning red with envy. These were Quasi-Emperor level puppets. With just one of them, one could do whatever they wanted in the 3 prefectures. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others were also stunned. This was because they had not seen Lu Ming use a Boundary Emperor puppet before. Lu Ming, I don't believe that you have so many Quasi-Emperor realm puppets. Go to hell. The Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master charged towards Lu Ming. This time, Lu Ming did not take out a puppet. Back then, the Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master had deliberately taken in Xia Nianqing as a disciple but secretly wanted to let the evil spirit sect's Dharmaraja possess him. He had long been on Lu Ming's must-kill list. The Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master quickly approached Lu Ming. When he saw that Lu Ming still did not take out a puppet, he rejoiced, thinking that Lu Ming had already used up all his puppets. Die. The Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master's eyes turned cold. Old demonic woman, no one can save you today. Lu Ming said indifferently. He suddenly took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of the Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master. He pointed a finger. A finger energy shot towards the Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master's Dantian. The Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master was now a boundary emperor, but under Lu Ming's attack, it was useless. Bam! Lu Ming's finger energy directly pierced through the Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master's Dantian and shattered her saint heart. The Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master screamed and retreated frantically. An elder of the Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect caught him. You little bastard. You crippled my cultivation. You crippled my cultivation. My cultivation. The Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master screamed in despair. Her saint heart was destroyed, and her life's cultivation was wasted. From now on, she would become a cripple. She almost went crazy. The Heavenly God Sect Master and the Blood Demon House Master felt their hair stand on end and cold sweat trickled down their backs. They knew the strength of the Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master. He was definitely not weaker than them. But now, he couldn't even withstand one move from Lu Ming and his cultivation was destroyed. The two of them couldn't help but retreat. Where do you think you're going? Lu Ming said coldly. He pointed two more fingers and two finger energies shot out at an astonishing speed. The Heavenly God Sect Master and the Blood Demon House Master didn't even have time to react. Their dantians were pierced and their saint hearts were shattered. They followed in the footsteps of the Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master and had their cultivation destroyed. Ah! The two of them screamed in despair. They knew that they were finished. Their life's cultivation was gone. Let's attack together and kill this bastard. Kill this bastard. The Heavenly Universe Demonic Sect Master screamed crazily. Chapter 2160. Kill. Kill. The people of the D clan and evil spirit sect attacked. All kinds of attacks shot toward Lu Ming like rays of divine light, wanting to drown Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming struck out with his palm, and these attacks were destroyed. Lu Ming passed through them and walked toward the sect master of the Sky Universe Demon Sect. Just now, Lu Ming could have killed the Sky Universe Demon Sect Master and the others in one move, but he didn't do so. He wanted to let them know what despair was. With a wave of his hand, a total of 18 puppets appeared. They were all at the boundary of the Arch Realm. The 18 puppets held battle sabers and charged forward. Puff! Puff! Immediately, a large number of evil spirit sect and D clan members were killed, and their corpses fell to the ground. The evil spirit sect and the D clan were horrified. 18 sub-thearch level puppets, this was too terrifying. The 18 boundary the arch puppets were not afraid of death and continued to charge forward. Even if the other party was also at the boundary the arch realm, they couldn't stop them, and people below the boundary the arch realm were constantly killed. Great! Behind, Long Yuanshan and the others were overjoyed. They knew that they couldn't interfere in this battle, so they didn't attack. They also knew that if they attacked, they might distract Lu Ming. Block these puppets. Work together to block them. The people of the D family and the evil spirit sect shouted loudly. All of their sub-emperors had moved out, and with the help of some saints, they finally managed to block the 18 puppets. Lu Ming ignored them and walked step by step toward the Sky Universe Demon Sect Master and the others. Attack, kill this bastard. Kill him. The Sky Universe Demon Sect Master and the Heavenly God Sect Master roared. Otherwise, they couldn't even fly in the air. Immediately, someone charged toward Lu Ming. He stretched out his hand, and a burst of energy burst out, piercing through the forehead of those people. Corpses fell to the ground one by one. The Sky Universe Demon Sect's Patriarch and the others were horrified, and they hurriedly retreated while others supported them. Lu Ming followed step by step. His eyes were cold and his killing intent was locked onto the Sky Universe Demon Sect's Patriarch and the others. He wanted to make them despair. The closer he got to the other party, the uglier the other party's expression became. "Today, all of you will die," Lu Ming said coldly. Boom! Right at this moment, from the depths of the D clan, a terrifying aura burst forth. A black beam of light shot up into the sky, and a vast aura spread out in all directions. Emperor's might. Another martial emperor appeared. "Kill!" A tyrannical voice rang out. In the next instant, this figure had already appeared above Lu Ming and the others. A terrifying aura enveloped Lu Ming. Three-eyed god race. Lu Ming's heart trembled. The martial emperor that appeared was not the D clan's patriarch, Di Shi Tian, but a three-eyed god race member. This three-eyed god race member was 5 meters tall, and his entire body was shrouded in a pitch-black light. Ordinary people would not be able to see his full appearance, but Lu Ming's eyesight was so good that he could see through the light and see the other party's body. Lu Ming was taken aback to see a martial emperor three-eyed member of the divine clan here. It seems that the evil spirit sect was indeed created by a foreign race. It seems that this three-eyed god race member is a remnant of those who came through the passage. Lu Ming thought about it and understood. Almost all of the three-eyed god race members who came through the passage were killed. Especially those true emperors and void emperors with high cultivation levels, they were all slaughtered. This was because even the great emperors had targeted these foreign races, but there was no guarantee that none of them had escaped. Obviously, this three-eyed god race member was one of those who had escaped to this place. This place was too remote, so naturally, no one chased after him. I wonder if there are any stronger three-eyed god race members. Lu Ming's eyes were solemn. Logically speaking, since the great emperors had targeted high-level void emperors and true emperors and killed almost all of them, there should not be such a high-level three-eyed god race member who had escaped here. Not good, it's a martial emperor. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master, Long Yuanshan, Yang Tianzong, and the others were shocked. Although Lu Ming was strong, could he face a martial emperor? The Sky Universe Demon Sect Master, Celestial God Sect Master, and the others were overjoyed. Lu Ming, go to hell, ah! The Sky Universe Demon Sect Master laughed maniacally. No matter how strong Lu Ming was, could he be stronger than a martial emperor? So what if he had some boundary emperor puppets? Facing a martial emperor, he would still die. Kill! The three-eyed god race member roared, and a giant axe appeared in his hand. He swung the axe at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression was calm, and he had no intention of dodging. He had long seen that the three-eyed god race member was only equivalent to a one-star void emperor. When the giant axe was about to hit him, Lu Ming struck out with his palm. Clang! Lu Ming's palm struck the three-eyed god race member's battle axe. The battle axe vibrated and was sent flying back. Lu Ming did not move at all. What? Everyone was stunned. Lu Ming could send a martial emperor's battle axe flying with his palm, and he did it with his bare hands. The Sky Universe Demon Sect Master, Celestial God Sect Master, and the others widened their eyes in disbelief. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others were also dumbfounded. Initially, they had all kinds of guesses. Some guessed that Lu Ming might have a backup plan and might have invited other experts or had some secret treasures. However, no one guessed that Lu Ming could rely on his own combat strength to fight a martial emperor. Lu Ming was too young. How could he fight a martial emperor at such a young age? It was unrealistic. However, what happened next made them feel like they were dreaming. The fish that escaped from the evil god race will be eliminated today. Lu Ming shouted as he soared into the sky and charged toward the three-eyed god race member. The three-eyed god race member shouted as he unleashed his full strength. A destructive light shot out from his third eye and shot toward Lu Ming. However, he was sent flying by Lu Ming's palm. Bang! Lu Ming's palm broke through the three-eyed god race member's defense and landed on his body. The other party let out a blood-curdling scream as his burly body directly exploded into pieces, leaving behind no traces of his body. Hiss hiss hiss, gasps could be heard at the scene. Many people's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. They could not believe it and thought that they were dreaming. A martial emperor was blasted into pieces by Lu Ming with his bare hands. This was too unreal, like a myth. Impossible, this is impossible. The Sky Universe Demon Sect Master screamed hysterically, unable to accept this. How could Lu Ming be so strong? He could kill a martial emperor with one move. This was unimaginable for him. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others were also stunned. However, when they came to their senses, they were all overjoyed. Could it be that Ming has already become a martial emperor? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said excitedly. Many people were shocked. Such a young martial emperor was too terrifying. They finally understood why Autumn Moon would follow Lu Ming. Great, great. This time, we can annihilate the evil spirit sect and the D family. Some people were overjoyed and excited. Chapter 2161. Lu Ming looked into the depths of the D clan, and a sharp glint flashed across his eyes. When he killed that evil god tribe member just now, he felt a few fluctuations. Seems like there are more. Get out here. Lu Ming shouted coldly and pointed a finger in the air. Then, everyone was shocked to see that in the depths of the D clan, in the sky, an incomparably huge finger formed and pressed down on a palace. That finger was like the finger of a god, and its aura was so powerful that it gave people the urge to worship it. Boom! With a point of the finger, that palace exploded. At the same time, a few roars sounded, shaking heaven and earth. A tall figure rushed out and punched out, destroying the huge finger. 3 figures appeared in the sky. They were all members of the three-eyed divine tribe. They were tall and sturdy, and their auras were terrifying. In particular, one of the three-eyed divine tribe members had an extremely terrifying aura, many times stronger than the other martial emperors. A 3-star illusionary martial emperor and 2 1-star illusionary martial emperors. I didn't expect so many three-eyed divine tribe members to escape here. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes, and a cold light flashed. You are the son of chaos, but unfortunately, you are only a sub-thearch. How dare you attack me? You are courting death. The 3-star illusionary martial emperor from the evil god tribe spoke with a cold voice. He took a step forward and quickly approached Lu Ming. Many people from the evil spirit sect and the D clan were overjoyed. It turned out that there were so many martial emperors here. This was unimaginable. The Sky Universe Demon Sect Master and the others were also overjoyed. This martial emperor was obviously many times stronger than the one that had appeared before. Lu Ming was dead meat. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others were also shocked. Many people were shocked. So many martial emperors, how could there be so many martial emperors? In the past, there were only 2 martial emperors in the 3 states. One was Emperor Yun, and the other was the martial emperor of the D clan. Later on, when the evil spirit sect's Dharma king appeared, there were more martial emperors. But now, martial emperors appeared one after another, and the last one was simply terrifying to the extreme. Could Lu Ming fight against them? Many people started to worry. Back then, I have killed countless members of the evil god tribe. However, there aren't many martial emperors in the evil god tribe. Let's start with the few of you. Facing a 3-star void emperor, Lu Ming's expression remained calm. Boasting shamelessly. You are merely a quasi-emperor, and you want to kill me? Die. The 3-star Void Emperor spoke coldly. The aura on his body became increasingly violent. He threw a punch toward Lu Ming. This punch directly shattered the space. It was terrifying to the extreme as it charged towards Lu Ming. The others were all shocked. This kind of attack power was too shocking. They felt that as long as it touched them, their souls would scatter. Boom! Lu Ming also moved. He also punched out. Fist against fist. In this punch, Lu Ming erupted with 5 types of laws and fused them together. The 2 fists collided heavily against each other. Lu Ming's fist was very small. Compared to his opponent's fist, which was the size of a water tank, the difference was too great. But when they collided, his opponent's fist, which was the size of a water tank, directly shattered, blood and flesh splattering everywhere. Ah! The other party screamed and retreated continuously. How is this possible? Your laws. The other party roared in disbelief. Kill. Lu Ming did not give the other party a chance at all. He charged over. With a wave of his hand, a battle sword condensed. This battle sword was Lu Ming's self-created sword of death. It was Lu Ming's strongest killing move now. With a slash of the sword, the other party did not have the slightest strength to resist and was directly split into 2 halves. Lu Ming killed him in the air. 3-star Void Emperor, killed in an instant. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, not to mention a 3-star Void Emperor, even an ordinary 4-star Void Emperor would be killed in an instant when he used the Sword of Death. Of course, if it was an Void Emperor who had comprehended many types of laws and successfully fused them together, it would still be impossible. Dead. This time, everyone was stunned once again. An extremely terrifying Void Emperor was also killed. He was killed by Lu Ming with a single slash. This scene was too shocking. Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others were completely stunned. As for Spirit Devouring King and Ghostly King, they were still calm. Although they were shocked when Lu Ming killed a 1-star Void Emperor, they were still very calm. This was because they knew that there was a 3-star Void Emperor in the depths of the D clan who could easily kill Lu Ming. But now, a 3-star Void Emperor was also killed by Lu Ming with a single slash. They were really frightened. Kill. With a shout, Qiu Yu made her move. Her yin-yang wheel attacked Spirit-Devouring Dharma King. Autumn Moon already knew about Lu Ming's combat strength, so she was not surprised at all. As for Spirit-Devouring King, he was completely stunned when he saw Lu Ming kill the 3-eyed divine race. He was only a 1-star Void Emperor and was not a match for Autumn Moon. Now that he was stunned, he was directly hit by Autumn Moon. His body exploded and he died on the spot. Then, the yin-yang wheel moved and attacked Ghostly King. Ghostly King was shocked and furious. He fought with Autumn Moon. At the same time, he felt cold all over and was ready to escape. Lu Ming was too terrifying. He killed a 3-star Void Emperor with a single slash. If he came to kill him, he would also die. But how could Autumn Moon not know what he was thinking? She attacked with all her strength and stopped him, making it difficult for him to escape. After Lu Ming killed the 3-star Void Emperor, he did not stop. His figure flickered and attacked the other 2 1-star Void Emperors. The 2 3-eyed divine race were terrified and instinctively wanted to escape. But sword light flashed and their heads were separated from their bodies. Their souls were also annihilated. After killing the 2 3-eyed divine race, Lu Ming stepped into the air and attacked Ghostly King. No. Ghostly King was almost scared to death. He attacked Autumn Moon crazily, trying to escape. But Autumn Moon was not weaker than him. He could not escape at all. At this moment, Lu Ming had arrived. No, I surrender, Dharmaraja Myriad Ghost roared hysterically. However, when the death sword fell, Ghostly King was cut in half. Under the remaining power of the death sword, Ghostly King's body was annihilated inch by inch. Everyone was so shocked that they couldn't be any more shocked. Dead. All the martial emperors were dead. From the moment Lu Ming attacked, he killed 5 martial emperors in an instant. Everyone thought that they were dreaming. Especially the sect master of the Sky Universe Demon sect and the sect master of the Celestial God sect. They were almost scared to death. Go quickly. They screamed and asked someone to take them away. But in a flash, Lu Ming appeared in front of them. I said, no one can save you today. You must die. Lu Ming said coldly. The sect master of the Sky Universe Demon sect and the sect master of the Celestial God sect were in despair. At this moment, they could not summon the slightest thought of resisting. It was true despair. Previously, when they saw the martial emperors appear, they were overjoyed. They thought that a martial emperor could easily kill Lu Ming. But Lu Ming's combat strength was far beyond their expectations. Even martial emperors were like chickens and dogs in front of Lu Ming. They could not withstand a single blow. In just a short while, their mood fell from heaven to hell. Lu Ming, my cultivation has been destroyed. Why do you have to kill me? Spare my life. Chapter 2162. Seeing that he couldn't escape, the Sky Space Demon sect master began to beg. Beg for mercy? What a joke. Lu Ming smiled faintly. The Sky Space Demon sect master had almost allowed Xian Yanqing's body to be possessed for his own selfish reasons. Later on, he had led the evil spirit sex people to force Lu Ming to flee Tsang State. Was it possible to beg him for mercy now? The sword of death swung out and killed the Sky Space Demon sect master and the Heavenly God sect master in front of their despairing eyes. Kill! Lu Ming roared. His saint power surged and condensed into spears around his body. These spears pierced through the air, piercing through the evil spirit sects and D family's cultivators, killing them in the air. Autumn Moon also made her move. Now, all the other party's martial emperors had been killed. How could anyone below the martial emperor compete with Autumn Moon? They could only be killed. Lu Ming didn't show any mercy. This was the evil spirit sect, created by a foreign race. They specialized in killing the primordial realm's cultivators and geniuses. There was no such thing as mercy, only killing. The D family, Heavenly God sect, and other forces had already submitted to the evil spirit sect. They were no different from the evil spirit sect. Screams rose and fell. This was a massacre. Lu Ming specifically chose sub-thearchs, supreme sages, and great sages to kill. No one could withstand a single move. As long as they were targeted by Lu Ming, only death awaited them. Soon, all the sub-thearchs were killed by Lu Ming. Run! Soon, the evil spirit sects and D family's cultivators collapsed. They no longer had the heart to resist and frantically fled in all directions. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and attacked crazily. With a wave of his hand, the spear light pierced through a radius of hundreds of miles. Several supreme sage experts exploded in the air. At the same time, the 18 sub-thearch puppets were also crazily hunting. The scene was like hell on earth. The evil spirit sects and D family's cultivators fell to the ground like raindrops. Attack! Don't let the evil spirit sect remnants escape. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master roared as he led the powerful cultivators of the Tsang State to hunt down the fleeing evil spirit sect and D family members. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon had killed almost all of their top fighters. The rest could be left to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others. A brief moment later, Lu Ming did not make any further moves. Instead, he ordered the 18 puppets to assist the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley and the others, while he headed deeper into the D clan. Although these puppets had not fully developed intelligence, they already had a trace of consciousness. As long as they were given an order, they would follow it. The puppets of the Divine Golem cult were naturally incomparable to Earth One, Gold One, and the others in the Primal Chaos Palace. 2E, Gold E, and the others had already gained sentience. Their intelligence was no different from ordinary people. Even Tu Qian, who was at the back, had sentience. This was not decided by the strength of one's battle prowess, but by the strength of one's puppet technique. Lu Ming arrived deep inside the D clan and spread out his spiritual sense, encapsulating the entire territory of the D clan. He did not discover anything. Lu Ming frowned. Strange, the D clan's patriarch, Di Shi Tian, was not here. Suddenly, Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. He dove down and punched out. The ground cracked open, revealing an underground passage. Lu Ming flew in. The underground passageway was quiet and serene. Lu Ming went all the way down and finally discovered that there was another universe in the depths of the underground. It was like an underground world. Inside, there were piles of treasures of the D clan. Lu Ming took them without hesitation. This should be the place where the D clan hid their treasures and where Di Shi Tian was in seclusion. Because there was a faint emperor's aura here. However, Di Shi Tian's figure was nowhere to be seen. Lu Ming circled around the place and took away everything he could. Then, he left the place. When he came out, he found two groups of people confronting each other. Lu Ming frowned. One of the groups was naturally the Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others. The other group was the group that did not come with Lu Ming. The leader was the old man with the aquiline nose. Wang, you are too despicable. Previously, when I asked you to come to the D clan, you were afraid of death and did not dare to come. Now that the D clan and the evil spirit sect have been destroyed, you came to fish in troubled waters and fight for resources and treasures. Don't you have any shame? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master shouted. Yun Ruoxu, your appetite is too big. Do you want to take it all for yourself? Also, how many resources have the evil spirit sect and the D clan exploited in Song State all these years? We should take back some of them. The aquiline-nosed old man sneered and quibbled. Also, where are the storage rings of the evil spirit sect's experts? Hand them over. Don't think you can take it all for yourself. You want it with me? At this moment, Lu Ming said coldly and walked over. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was overjoyed. Lu Ming walked over in the air, his eyes flashing coldly. He knew what was going on as soon as he heard that. The aquiline-nosed old man and the others were afraid of death and did not dare to fight, but they secretly followed. When they saw that the evil spirit sect and the D clan had been destroyed, they wanted to take advantage of the situation and fight for resources. How could there be such a good thing in this world? The aquiline-nosed old man and the others looked solemn when they saw Lu Ming. Their speed was much slower than Lu Ming's. In fact, they had just arrived. They did not see the previous battle at all, nor did they see Lu Ming's great feat of killing martial emperors. However, when they were in the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect, Lu Ming's strength still made them very wary. Lu Ming waved his hand, and a few storage rings appeared in the air. These are the storage rings of the strongest members of the D clan and the evil spirit sect. If you want them, come and take them. Lu Ming said lightly. The aquiline-nosed old man and the others looked a little serious. For a moment, they did not dare to go forward, but the greed in their eyes was very strong. Lu Ming, are you really going to share them with us? The aquiline-nosed old man asked tentatively. What do you think? Lu Ming looked at the aquiline-nosed old man with a half-smile. The aquiline-nosed old man knew that Lu Ming was playing with him, and his face darkened. Lu Ming, the D clan and the evil spirit sect have so many treasures. You want to take them all for yourselves? We are also people of the Tsang state, so we should have a share. What right do you have to take these treasures? Lu Ming said lightly. Also, I gave you a chance to participate in the battle, but you were afraid of death and refused to come. You even said that you wanted to leave the 3 states and go to other states. Now, get lost. Lu Ming, you still want to chase us away? Don't go too far. The 3 states are not yours. The aquiline nose old man said angrily. Now that the D clan and evil spirit sect had been annihilated, the Emperor, Cloud, and San continents had become ownerless. Only a few factions in San continent were left. Next, it would be their turn to divide the spoils. How could they bear to leave? Lu Ming, don't go too far. We are also people of the Tsang state. You have no right to ask us to leave. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have some strength. Unless you can kill us all. The aquiline nose old man shouted. That's right, I won't leave even if I die. Another group of people followed suit and shouted. Bam! A ray of light flashed, and blood and flesh splattered everywhere. The aquiline nose old man's eyes widened in disbelief. Chapter 2163. The old man's eyes were filled with despair and disbelief. He had never expected Lu Ming to be so ruthless, killing him without hesitation. Since you want to die, I'll grant you your wish. Lu Ming said calmly. Thump. The old man's body fell limply to the ground, and he was no longer breathing. Lu Ming, you, the others were shocked. They had not expected Lu Ming to attack all of a sudden. Bang! Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he took a step forward, causing a terrifying pressure to descend. Bang! 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 A few of the people who had teased the old man previously did not even have the chance to cry out before their bodies exploded, killing them on the spot. If you want to die, I'll kill all of you. Lu Ming said coldly. The remaining people's countenances changed drastically, revealing a horrified expression. Do you want to die here, or do you want to fulfill your promise and leave the 3 continents? Lu Ming's gaze was sharp as a knife as he glanced at the remaining people. These people were extremely regretful. If they had known this would happen, they would have followed Lu Ming to attack the D clan. However, they had thought that Lu Ming was dead for sure. Those who had followed Lu Ming here were idiots, but they were not that stupid. Now, it was proven that they were the idiots. Those who had followed Lu Ming here were the wisest ones. From now on, they would be able to divide the 3 continents. How awesome would that be? However, they would not have a share. If they stayed, they would die. Lu Ming was clearly not a merciful person. Let's go, let's leave. We'll leave the 3 continents and never set foot in the 3 continents again. The people were left speechless. They then rose into the air and flew in the direction of the Cloud Sea mountain range. Well done. These people are afraid of death, yet they still want to take advantage of the situation. How can there be such a good thing? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others were extremely pleased. Next, they cleaned up the battlefield. They did not show any mercy to the people of the evil spirit sect. They killed all of them, leaving no one alive. However, they didn't kill some of the weaker members of the D clan. For example, those who were below the Huang Qi layer weren't a threat to them. Lu Ming asked some D clan members about Di Shi Tian's whereabouts. But these people all shook their heads. How would they have the qualifications to know where a character like Sakura was going? Lu Ming felt some regret. If he had known, he would have left behind a few experts to ask. After that, Lu Ming left the D family and traveled across the 3 prefectures. He was afraid that the evil spirit sect and the D family still had powerful cultivators. He had to get rid of them all. There were indeed some powerful beings from the D family and the evil spirit sect in the Cloud State. However, there were no martial emperors, only a few subthearchs and some absolute saints. All of them had been killed by Lu Ming. Later on, Lu Ming simply sent out his puppets to roam the 3 states and hunt down the evil spirit sect and D family members. Several days later, almost all of the evil spirit sect and D family's elites had been killed. The 3 states were now truly under their control. Half a month later, everyone held a grand event in the Dragon God Valley to celebrate their freedom. At the same time, they discussed how to divide the 3 states. Now, the Cloud Emperor Mountain and the D family were all destroyed. There were originally 13 sects in the Tsang state, but the Heavenly Universe Demon sect, Poison Desire sect, Blood Demon House, Intentionless Saber sect, and Heavenly Gods sect had all been destroyed because they had sided with the Evil Spirit sect. Previously, the 9 Heaven Sword sect, Heavenly King Palace, and a few other remnant forces did not dare to fight because they were afraid of death. Their higher-ups were killed by Lu Ming, and the rest had all retreated from the 3 states. Therefore, the only major forces left were the Dragon God Valley, Demon Castle, Linglong Palace, Life and Death Sword sect, and the Piyuan family. The 3 states were divided between the 5 major forces. But this time, they were able to destroy the Evil Spirit sect and the D family mainly because of Lu Ming. And Lu Ming was from the Dragon God Valley, so he naturally had to take the biggest share. In the end, the Dragon God Valley took the entire Tsang state. The Demon Castle and Linglong Palace equally divided the Cloud state, while the Life and Death Sword sect and the Piyuan family equally divided the Emperor state. The next day, everyone went on the road and began to rebuild. The Dragon God Valley also began to gather disciples to rebuild the Dragon God Valley. Lu Ming also joined in, and he set up a large array around the Dragon God Valley. At the same time, Lu Ming took out 2 puppets and handed them to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. These 2 puppets were equivalent to the 1-star illusionary the Arch Realm puppets. Their intelligence was not high, but they already had spirituality. As long as they were ordered to protect the Dragon God Valley, they would fight to the end. Back in the Divine Golem sect, Lu Ming had bought a total of 3 1-star illusionary the Arch Realm puppets and 18 sub-Thearch Realm puppets. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was very shocked. After not seeing him for so many years, he knew that Lu Ming had reached an astonishing level. Now, he could even take out Martial Emperor Realm puppets. The reason why Lu Ming took out 2 Martial Emperor Realm puppets for the Cloud Dragon Valley Master was mainly because he was afraid that Sakura would appear. He could not stay in the Tsang state for long. Soon, he would have to return to the Divine Wilderness. At the same time, Lu Ming also told the Cloud Dragon Valley Master about Ice Dragon Ancestor and Ice Dragon Valley Master. After hearing the news, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master sighed. Ice Dragon Valley Master had passed away, and Ice Dragon Ancestor was nowhere to be found. Now, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master was the only one left in the upper echelon of the Dragon God Valley. After that, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master temporarily took over the position of Dragon God Valley Master and began to rebuild the Dragon God Valley. He collected the resources of the entire Tsang state and nurtured talented geniuses. Lu Ming also left behind a large amount of resources. Now, Lu Ming had too many resources in his hands. In the ancient Moon's sacred ground, he had destroyed the Feng clan and Wan clan and killed a shocking number of martial emperors. With his current cultivation, he could open the storage rings of true emperors and illusionary thearchs. How many resources were there? For example, he could open Emperor Tsang's storage ring now. He also asked Uncle Kong to help him open the storage ring of the Mu clan's martial emperor that he killed. He now had a shocking amount of resources. He left a portion for the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. With these resources and the entire Tsang state, he believed that the Dragon God Valley would quickly become stronger and become the true overlord of the Tsang state. Next, Lu Ming stayed in Tsang state for 3 months. In these 3 months, the entire Tsang state was completely under the control of the Dragon God Valley. The headquarters of the 13 sects had all become branches of the Dragon God Valley. Some small forces had also joined the Dragon God Valley. During this period, Lu Ming and Autumn Moon took turns to preach. The entire Dragon God Valley came to listen and benefited a lot. For example, the number 1 genius of the Dragon God Valley, Zifeng, had broken through the shackles and reached the Bright Sage realm. As for the Cloud Dragon Valley Master, with the help of Lu Ming's resources, he had also broken through a bottleneck and reached another level in his cultivation. In these years, because the resources were exploited by the Evil Spirit sect and the D clan, the cultivation of the Dragon God Valley did not increase much. Now that they had the help of various top resources, many people's cultivation had broken through and increased. It was a scene of prosperity. At this time, Lu Ming said goodbye to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. He was going to return to the Divine Wilderness Continent. Chapter 2164. 8 ancient altars floated in the air in the center of the ancient city of the ruins of God. At that moment, one of the altars suddenly lit up, and 2 figures appeared on the altar. They were Autumn Moon and Lu Ming. "We're finally back." Lu Ming smiled. Autumn Moon also looked around curiously. There was no one around the altars, and it was quiet. "Autumn Moon, let's go back to the Divine Wilderness." Lu Ming smiled and held Autumn Moon's little hand as they flew down the altar and towards the south. Suddenly, Lu Ming stopped with a bewildered look on his face. "Young master, what's wrong?" Autumn Moon asked in surprise. "Autumn Moon, have you noticed that something is wrong here? The origin chi is too rich." Lu Ming said with a trace of shock on his face. The origin chi is indeed rich. It's not inferior to Tsang Prefecture, Cloud Prefecture, and Emperor Prefecture. Autumn Moon said after sensing it. Although the origin chi in the continent of God is richer than in the Divine Wilderness, it's completely incomparable to Yuanlu. But now, the origin chi here is actually comparable to Tsang Prefecture. The more Lu Ming said, the more incredulous he felt. The continent of God was a barren land among the 10 lands of the primordial realm. The origin chi was scarce, and the space was extremely unstable. It was too different from Yuanlu and could not be compared at all. But now, the origin chi here was really comparable to Tsang Prefecture. Lu Ming could not have sensed wrongly. Whoosh! Lu Ming waved his palm in the air, and the space rippled like water. The space is also countless times more stable. How is that possible? Lu Ming was even more shocked. The continent of God was at the edge of the primordial realm, and the space was extremely unstable. Here, domain enlightened spirit God realm cultivators could tear open space. As for the martial monarch realm, a casual move would be able to shatter space. When Lu Ming was here, he could cross hundreds of millions of miles to kill enemies. But just now, although Lu Ming hadn't used much power, if it had been in the past, the space around him would have been pierced through by Lu Ming. But now, there were only ripples. The space was much more stable than before. It was already very close to the Yuanlu. Following that, Lu Ming sensed the heaven and earth and discovered that the laws had become countless times clearer. If one were to cultivate in such an environment, their cultivation would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. Like the Tsang Prefecture, the Cloud Prefecture, and the Emperor Prefecture, there were groups of martial emperors. There were even bright saints, great saints, absolute saints, and quasi-emperors. How was this possible? What had happened in the godly ruins continent all these years? How could there be such a shocking change? It was a complete upheaval. A remote and desolate place had suddenly become a holy land for cultivation. At this moment, Autumn Moon had also figured out the difference between the two. He was also stunned. Something big must have happened in the Divine Ruins Continent group. Let's return to the Divine Wilderness Continent first. Lu Ming said. He had a bad feeling in his heart. The two of them soared into the sky and flew towards the south of the ancient city of the Divine Ruins. If it had been in the past, they would have been able to travel through the void at will. With their current cultivation, they would have been able to reach the Divine Wilderness Continent from the Divine Ruins Continent in a few minutes. But now, the space was much more stable. Just like in the Yuanlu, they could no longer travel through the void. Kill! Kill! After flying for a while, they heard deafening shouts in front of them. There seemed to be thousands of soldiers and horses in front of them. Lu Ming's expression changed. The two of them continued to fly. Soon, they arrived at the edge of the ancient city of the Divine Ruins. They saw countless figures standing on the city wall. Some people were fighting in the air. 7th level Martial Emperor, 8th level Martial Emperor. Lu Ming scanned the area and discovered that the people fighting in the air were all 7th level and 8th level martial emperors. Also, there were a large number of martial emperor realm experts among those who hadn't made a move yet. It would have been unimaginable in the past. Before Lu Ming had left the Divine Ruins continent, the strongest expert in the Divine Ruins continent was the 4th layer martial emperor realm. Besides, before Lu Ming had left, he had almost killed all the cultivators above the 3rd layer martial emperor realm. But now, he could easily identify cultivators above the 5th layer martial emperor realm. As expected, the heavens and earth were different now. The chi of the ancient city of the Divine Ruins was rich and the rules were clear. Lu Ming and Xiao Yu did not stop there. They continued to fly forward. He finally understood what was happening. Outside the ancient city of the Divine Ruins, there were countless figures wearing armor with strong battle intent. It was obvious that two groups of people were fighting. However, Lu Ming was not interested in it. He and Xiao Yu headed out of the city wall. "Hey, you two, which clan are you from? Don't go anywhere. There are enemies outside the city. You will die if you go out." Someone glanced at Lu Ming and Xiao Yu and reminded them. However, Lu Ming continued to walk out as if he did not hear it. "I've never seen them before. I wonder which clan they are from. They are courting death." Many people glanced at Lu Ming and Xiao Yu and uttered hollow laughs, but no one dared to stop them. Lu Ming and Xiao Yu left the ancient city of the Divine Ruins and flew toward the south. "They are from the city. Take them down. How bold of them. Are they trying to provoke us?" Someone among the army outside the city said furiously. The people outside the city assumed Lu Ming and Xiao Yu were from the city. They were infuriated when they saw the two of them walking out of the city as if they were not taking them seriously. Immediately, two people flew toward Lu Ming and Xiao Yu and reached out their hands to grab Lu Ming and Xiao Yu. They were two 3rd layer martial emperors. They would have been considered dominators in the past. "Piss off!" Lu Ming shouted coldly. With Lu Ming's cultivation, his casual shout contained great power. The two 3rd layer martial emperors' bodies shook violently and they were sent flying back while vomiting blood. "So they are two experts. Kill them. How arrogant. Do you think you can provoke us with just the two of you?" Many people in the army outside the city were furious and more experts flew out. There were at least a dozen 7th layer martial emperors and 8th layer martial emperors. Their eyes were cold and their killing intent was as sharp as knives. Some of them even glanced at Xiao Yu with greed and desire. "You are courting death. Kill them." Lu Ming shouted coldly and stepped forward. The sky rumbled and a terrifying energy swept out. Bang! 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 The bodies of the dozen people who rushed over exploded and they died on the spot. Lu Ming did not have a good impression of the people of the Godly Ruins continent. Back then, all the forces of the Godly Ruins continent had joined forces to kill Lu Ming in order to take his Chaos Origin token. If it were not for Lu Ming's high cultivation, he would have been killed. Therefore, he did not show any mercy. He killed more than a dozen experts with one move, which shocked everyone. How can this be? Is he a Saint Realm expert? That's impossible. The Godly Ruins continent has not produced a Saint Realm expert. The strongest one is only a half-saint. Is he a half-saint? Chapter 2165. Lu Ming killed more than a dozen experts with one move, shocking the crowd and making the people outside the city turn pale. Even the battle in the sky stopped. The experts from both sides flew back to their respective camps. "Fellow cultivator, you've crossed the line." A middle-aged man stepped down from the sky and stared at Lu Ming, emitting a powerful aura. The second stage of half-saint. Lu Ming could clearly sense the other party's cultivation. It seems that the upheaval has been going on for a long time. Even a second stage half-saint has appeared. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. "Come here, I have some questions for you." Lu Ming looked at the second stage half-saint expert and said indifferently. In Lu Ming's eyes, a second stage half-saint was nothing. Naturally, his tone was not respectful. It even sounded like a command. When those words entered the other party's ears, his face darkened to the point of death. You and I have an agreement. A half-saint cannot interfere. You've crossed the line. The middle-aged man said again. I asked you to come here. I have something to ask you. Lu Ming added. His face turned cold. He was indeed full of questions and wanted to find someone to ask. You're so arrogant. I'd like to see what you're capable of. The middle-aged man was furious. He unleashed all his strength and charged at Lu Ming. Lu Ming. A second stage half-saint had already mastered the laws. In the eyes of others, their power was shocking and terrifying. However, in Lu Ming's eyes, they were no different from ants. Lu Ming simply stretched out a hand and a big hand condensed. It clashed with the middle-aged burly man and pinched him. He then exerted force and the middle-aged burly man screamed miserably. There were cracking sounds all over his body and many of his bones were broken. Both inside and outside the city were silent. A half-saint was like a baby in Lu Ming's hands. He could not withstand a single blow. Then, the people in the city were overjoyed. Their morale was greatly boosted. Take the opportunity to kill him. Yes, kill him. How could the city's upper echelons miss this opportunity? Lu Ming had walked out of the city. He had used his powerful means to kill the enemy's powerhouses one after another. Even a half-step saint couldn't withstand a single blow from him. As a result, the enemy's morale must be extremely low. This was the best opportunity to attack. Kill. Inside the city, a large group of experts charged out of the city. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold light. He wasn't here to help the city. He only attacked because the other party attacked him first, and he wanted to ask some questions. However, the people in the city wanted to borrow his power and use him as a hired thug. All of you, scram. Lu Ming turned around and roared. Waves of terrifying energy erupted from his mouth and surged towards the experts in the city. Bang! Bang! Inside the city, the experts who were charging at the forefront exploded one after another in the air. Dozens of them died in an instant. Back off. Retreat. The remaining people were almost scared to death. They frantically retreated, their bodies drenched in cold sweat. Now, everyone understood that Lu Ming did not belong to either side. Whoosh. Following that, Lu Ming stretched out a large hand into the city and grabbed an old man. Everyone gasped. This old man was also a half-step saint, the top expert in the current Divine Ruins continent. You're Lu Ming. The old man stared at Lu Ming and suddenly shouted. What? Many people were shocked. In the depths of their memories, a demonic name emerged. Lu Ming. More than 10 years ago, he had shaken the entire Divine Ruins continent. Who didn't know him? At that time, the top experts in the Divine Ruins continent were almost all killed. It's really Lu Ming. I recognize him. Someone shouted again. Previously, when Lu Ming first appeared, many people did not recognize him. After all, more than 10 years had passed. Lu Ming's temperament had undergone a great change. Many people did not react in time. However, now that they were reminded, many people reacted, and their faces turned pale. He was a fiend. Moreover, didn't he go to Yuanlu? Why did he come back? Could it be that he had just returned from Yuanlu? Many people figured it out. That must be the case. That was why he appeared in the city. I'll ask you some questions. If you answer me honestly, I won't kill you. Lu Ming said coldly. Alliance leader Lu, please ask. We will tell you everything we know. The old man in the city hurriedly said. Me too, me too. The middle-aged man nodded repeatedly. Lu Ming's current strength was unfathomable. They did not dare to have the slightest disloyalty. Let me ask you, what's going on with this world? Why is the origin chi so dense? It's countless times denser than before. Lu Ming asked the question in his heart. As expected, he had just returned from Yuanlu. Alliance leader Lu, it's like this, the old man in the city hurriedly answered and told him everything that had happened over the years. The middle-aged man added from time to time. After hearing that, Lu Ming was shocked. It turned out that all of this was because of the Divine Wilderness Continent. To be precise, it was because of the Divine Wilderness Continent's 9-Dragon City. About 8 or 9 years ago, there was a sudden change in 9-Dragon City. A passageway suddenly appeared in the middle of 9-Dragon City. The 9-Dragon veins and 9-Dragon cauldrons that suppressed 9-Dragon City flew away one by one into the passageway. Endless origin chi spread out from the passageway, causing the origin chi of the Divine Wilderness Continent to become extremely dense. It even spread to the surrounding continents, such as the Divine Ruins Continent. With the density of the origin chi, the laws of the world became very clear and easy to comprehend. At the same time, the world and space became extremely stable. Every time a dragon vein and 9-Dragon cauldron flew away, more origin chi would surge out from the passageway. In addition, the Divine Wilderness Continent and the other continents seemed to have countless spiritual roots or seeds of sacred herbs buried deep underground. Now that the origin chi was dense, these spiritual roots and seeds of sacred herbs had all awakened and bloomed. Countless spiritual herbs and sacred herbs had appeared all over the world. During this period of time, the martial Dao world had also increased explosively. Everyone's cultivation improved by leaps and bounds, advancing at a tremendous pace. Especially in the Divine Wilderness Continent, there were as many experts as there were clouds. Not only martial emperors, but even saints had appeared one after another. This made Lu Ming and Xiao Autumn Moon dumbfounded. They did not expect the changes of the world to be related to the 9-Dragon cauldron. The whole world had awakened and was full of vitality. Could it be that the legend of the 9-Dragon cauldron was wrong? Lu Ming thought. Legend had it that the 9-Dragon cauldron was forged by human experts in ancient times to suppress the 9-Dragon veins. But now, Lu Ming speculated that the 9-Dragon cauldron and the 9-Dragon veins were one and were used to suppress the passageway. Where does that passageway lead to? Chapter 2166. Lu Ming guessed that the passageway in 9-Dragon City must lead to a place with extremely dense origin chi. Only when the passageway led to such a place would the origin chi converge and the laws of heaven and earth would it create such a scene. Was it Yuanlu or the heavenly realm? Lu Ming's imagination ran wild. However, what the old man and the middle-aged man said next caused Lu Ming's expression to change. Because they said that a few years ago, some supreme experts had come from Yuanlu. They were called martial emperors and they had occupied Divine Wilderness Continent. Now, Divine Wilderness Continent was under the control of these experts from Yuanlu. As for Divine Ruins Continent, because it was far from Divine Wilderness Continent, the origin chi was not as dense and there were not many sacred herbs and spiritual fruits that had recovered. Therefore, the experts from Yuanlu did not extend their hands here. Expert from Yuanlu, martial emperors? Could it be Sakra? Lu Ming's expression changed and he immediately thought of Sakra. Sakra was not in Yuanlu. It was very likely that he had heard some news and came to Divine Wilderness Continent. If that was the case, wouldn't Dragon Alliance be controlled by Sakra? Then, wouldn't his parents, Xiao Wan and the others fall into Sakra's hands? At that moment, Lu Ming could not remain calm. He wanted to immediately return to Divine Wilderness Continent. Following that, Lu Ming asked a few more questions before leaving with Qiu Yu and flying in the direction of Divine Wilderness Continent. The two of them were extremely fast. Soon, they flew out of Divine Ruins Continent and into the boundless sea. Along the way, Lu Ming discovered that the world was different. The origin chi was incomparably dense and there were spiritual mountains and spiritual herbs everywhere. If Divine Ruins Continent was like this, then what would Divine Wilderness Continent be like? It must be even more shocking. Splash. In the sea, sea beasts surged and emitted a shocking aura. Ninth layer Martial Royal Realm. Lu Ming discovered a shark that was extremely ferocious and had a cultivation of the ninth layer Martial Royal Realm. The origin chi in the sea was also incomparably dense, causing the cultivation of the sea beasts in the sea to skyrocket. The two of them were extremely fast and they were constantly approaching Divine Wilderness Continent. The closer they were to Divine Wilderness Continent, the denser the origin chi became and the space became more stable. This gave Lu Ming the illusion that he had returned to Yuanlu. Not long after, the two returned to the Divine Wilderness and disembarked from northern plains. What a rich yuan chi! Lu Ming and Autumn Moon were shocked. The origin chi in the northern plains was extremely dense. The two of them felt that they were close to the ancient Moon Holy Land. One had to know that the ancient Moon Holy Land was one of the 9 great holy lands of the Yuan Mountain Land. It was known as a holy land, so one could imagine the cultivation environment. However, the Divine Wilderness Continent was very close to the ancient Moon Holy Land. The two of them used the Divine Breath technique to alter their appearances and auras. It was possible that Sakura was in the Divine Wilderness Continent and there were other members of the Emperor family. Lu Ming did not want to alert them. Acting in secret was the best plan. Lu Ming turned into a dark-skinned young man, and Autumn Moon turned into an ordinary-looking woman. The two of them slowed down and walked through the air, observing the changes in various places. On the ground, ancient trees towered into the sky. On many mountain peaks, spiritual medicines were everywhere. There were even sacred medicines growing. Many demonic beasts roamed the mountains and forests, and their cultivations were very powerful. With a casual glance, they discovered that there were many spiritual sea realm, spiritual embryo realm, and spiritual god realm demonic beasts. They were in groups. There were also many martial emperor realm demonic beasts. These demonic beasts fed on spiritual medicines, and their cultivation skyrocketed. This, even Lu Ming was dumbfounded. Then, the two of them flew and looked for big cities to gather information. Soon, they came to a big city and found out more detailed information. This land began to change 8 or 9 years ago. As the ruler of the Divine Wilderness Continent, the Dragon League seized the opportunity to obtain a large amount of resources. The number of experts in the Dragon League skyrocketed, and the experts became stronger. However, a few years ago, experts from the Yuanlu came. Facing the experts from the Yuanlu, the Dragon League could not resist at all. They were suppressed and occupied. There was more than one group of experts from the Yuanlu. There were several groups that occupied various territories in the Divine Wilderness Continent. Currently, the Divine Wilderness Continent was the ruler of the Yuanlu experts. The experts from the Dragon League were completely controlled by the experts from the Yuanlu experts. Lu Ming's heart was heavy. At the same time, he also heard some other news. Over the years, many people in the Divine Wilderness Continent had speculated about the changes in the land. Some people said that the Divine Wilderness Continent must have been a prosperous land in the distant past. This could be deduced from the countless spiritual medicines and sacred medicines that emerged from the depths of the earth. In the distant past, the Divine Wilderness Continent must have been filled with spiritual medicines and sacred medicines. However, later on, for some unknown reason, this land was sealed by the 9-dragon cauldron and the 9-dragon veins. Therefore, the Divine Wilderness Continent had withered. Now that the passage had been reopened, the entire continent had recovered. Lu Ming's heart was heavy as he rushed to the central continent with Chiu Moon. Along the way, they saw many people roaming the vast mountains in search of various spiritual medicines and sacred medicines. Young master, many people are heading towards that mountain range. Chiu Moon said. Lu Ming nodded. Along the way, they noticed that many people were flying in the same direction. Their eyes were burning with passion. I'm afraid that an incredible treasure has appeared in that place. Let's go take a look. Lu Ming's interest was piqued. Then, He flew in that direction with Chiu Moon. Soon, they arrived in front of a vast mountain range. Roar. From time to time, the roars of beasts could be heard from the mountains. Demonic beasts as large as mountains roamed freely, fighting with human martial artists. This mountain range is really impressive. There are sacred medicines everywhere. Lu Ming's eyes were like stars. He could see a large territory and the entire mountain range. Standing high in the sky, the large mountain range was reflected in his eyes. He discovered that the mountain range was rich in origin qi. Spiritual medicines and sacred medicines were everywhere. There were even more sacred medicines and spiritual medicines than the ancient moon's sacred ground. Lu Ming could not help but think that the divine wilderness continent might have been prosperous in the distant past. Deep underground, there were seeds of sacred medicines that had not decayed for thousands of years. Now that the origin qi was rich, they had taken root and sprouted. Otherwise, no matter how rich the origin qi was, it was impossible for so many spiritual medicines and sacred medicines to grow in less than 10 years. Similarly, there were countless powerful demonic beasts living in this vast mountain range. Young master, shall we collect some sacred medicines too? Chiu Moon asked. Sure. Lu Ming nodded. Although Lu Ming had a lot of resources in his hands, no one would complain about having more panacea. Although they would not be able to use these panacea, his parents and others would definitely be able to use them in the future. The two rushed into the forest and saw a ginseng that was as thick as an arm. It was golden and fragrant. This was a sacred medicine. It was useful even for martial sages. However, this ginseng was guarded by a demonic beast. Roar. A giant wolf with the strength of a second-layer martial royal realm lunged at Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his hand and a strong force shot out, killing the giant wolf. Then, he put away the golden ginseng. After that, Chiu Moon and Lu Ming traveled through the forest to collect sacred medicines. They were too lazy to collect ordinary sacred medicines. In a valley, Lu Ming casually killed a giant snake with the strength of a first-layer martial royal realm and collected a sacred medicine. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. It would be strange if the cultivation of the people of the divine wilderness continent did not soar during this period of time. There were too many sacred medicines. Chapter 2167. There were so many sacred herbs here that even those from the ancient moon's sacred land would be envious of them. Of course, it was impossible to improve one's cultivation just by consuming the herbs. One still needed to comprehend them. However, it was still much faster than before. Whoosh! Whoosh! At that moment, a few figures appeared above the valley. There were 4 of them, an old man, 2 middle-aged men, and a middle-aged woman. The 4 of them glanced at the corpse of the giant snake in the valley and were surprised. The 2 of you, were you the ones who killed this giant snake? The old man asked. He was obviously the leader of the 4. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. You 2 are quite young, but you managed to kill a first-layer martial royal realm giant snake. Are you here for the Holy Spirit fruit too? The old man asked. Holy Spirit fruit? Lu Ming was confused, but he did not show it on his face. He asked, are you here too? That's right. We've received news that there's a Holy Spirit fruit tree on Wuxia Mountain that's about to mature. A single Holy Spirit fruit is enough to give birth to a martial saint expert. Many treasure hunting groups have come here to compete for the Holy Spirit fruit. The old man said. A single Holy Spirit fruit can give birth to a martial saint? Lu Ming was shocked. He had read many books in the Great Elixir Evolution Palace, but he had never heard of a fruit like the Holy Spirit fruit, not to mention the fact that it could give birth to a martial saint. It seemed like the divine wilderness continent had indeed given birth to some amazing things. Lu Ming's interest grew. Are you 2 willing to join us? The more people we have, the better. We can take care of each other on the way. The old man asked again. Sure. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and nodded. Xiao Yu was completely at Lu Ming's beck and call. She would follow whatever Lu Ming did. The old man and the others were overjoyed. Lu Ming and Xiao Yu were able to move around in the mountains and kill a first-layer martial royal realm giant snake, which meant that they were quite strong. If they joined them, their strength would increase too. Lu Ming wanted to join them mainly because he wanted to take a look at the Holy Spirit fruit. It would be nice if he could pick a few and give them to his parents. Then, the two sides introduced themselves to each other. Lu Ming knew that the old man's name was Han Zhong. The four of them were a treasure-seeking group. Ever since the anomaly of the divine wilderness continent, all sorts of spirit herbs and sacred herbs began to recover. Many treasure-seeking groups had appeared. As the name implied, these people roamed the various famous mountains and great rivers in search of various spirit medicines and saint medicines to exchange for various cultivation resources. This time, many treasure-hunting groups came to Mount Wuyuan. After the introductions, the group continued on their journey. The old man headed deeper into the mountain range. As he walked, he searched for spirit herbs and saint herbs. What a strong medicinal fragrance! Suddenly, Han Zhong's expression changed. Lu Ming and Xiao Yu also smelled the rich medicinal fragrance coming from the front. Everyone hurriedly moved forward and immediately saw a small patch of sparkling purple grass. Redbud orchid. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as he recognized this grass. The redbud orchid was a low-level sacred medicine. To bright Saint Realm martial artists, it was quite useful. There were a total of 7 of them. Han Zhong's eyes lit up. 7 sacred medicines appeared at once and they were very valuable. However, it was not that easy to obtain them. Hiss hiss hiss, hiss hiss could be heard from the ground as purple threads slithered around. They were small snakes the size of chopsticks and their bodies were sparkling. Lu Ming glanced at them and saw 11 of them. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 11 small snakes shot towards the group. Attack! Han Zhong roared and attacked together with the others, attacking the 11 little snakes. The 11 small snakes had high cultivation levels. They were all martial emperors. The strongest one was a LV3 martial emperor, the same as Han Zhong. Was this still the divine wilderness continent? Lu Ming smiled bitterly. He had an illusion that he was in the Yuanlu continent. Back in the day, a LV1 martial emperor was an overlord in the divine wilderness continent. They could establish an overlord force and dominate a region. A LV2 martial emperor was almost invincible in the world. A LV3 martial emperor was legendary. Xiao Wan was a LV3 martial emperor when he was at his peak. However, there was a nest of snakes in the mountain and they were all martial emperors. The strongest one was a LV3 martial emperor. It made Lu Ming feel as though time and space were in a mess. It was as though he was still in Yuanlu. Clang! Clang! Han Zhong and the others fought against the 11 small purple snakes. Han Zhong fought against the LV3 martial emperor snake alone while the others fought against the other small snakes. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon also attacked. Of course, they did not use their full strength. They only used a part of their strength. Puff! Puff! Lu Ming and Autumn Moon killed 2 small snakes in a row. This surprised the others. Autumn Moon and Lu Ming's combat strength was stronger than they had imagined. Kill! The 2 burly men and the middle-aged woman unleashed their full strength and used various killing moves. They finally suppressed the small snakes and killed them. Their cultivation level is high but their combat strength is not high. Lu Ming shook his head inwardly. He realized that although these people's cultivation level had reached the martial emperor realm, their combat strength was much weaker than those in the Yuanlu continent. This was because these people lacked domain martial techniques. That's right, Han Zhong and the others were all using brute force. This was normal. Now that the heavens and earth had recovered, the origin chi had increased greatly. Many people's cultivation level had increased by leaps and bounds. However, domain martial techniques would not appear out of nowhere. For example, the two burly men were LV2 martial emperors. However, they could only barely suppress the LV1 martial emperors. It took them a lot of effort to kill the LV1 martial emperors. However, Han Zhong was at a disadvantage in the battle against the LV3 martial emperor snake. The little purple snake was as fast as lightning. Its speed was astonishing, and its body was as hard as iron. It forced Han Zhong into a fluster. Swoosh! At this moment, a purple lightning bolt rushed towards Han Zhong from another direction. It was another small purple snake. Its cultivation level was also LV3 martial emperor. Not good. The two burly men and the middle-aged woman were shocked. Surprisingly, there was also a small purple snake of the third layer of the martial emperor realm hiding nearby. At this moment, it suddenly attacked Han Zhong. Han Zhong was already having a hard time dealing with one snake. Now that there was another one attacking him, he could not avoid it at all. The two burly men wanted to save him, but it was too late. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly appeared behind Han Zhong and threw out a palm. The surging palm force directly sent that little snake flying. Of course, Lu Ming did not use his full strength. Otherwise, the small purple snake would have died. But with this block, the others finally reacted. Attack! The two burly men and the middle-aged woman rushed towards the small snake. The three of them joined forces and fought against the small snake. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon also joined the battle. They pretended to attack and soon killed the small snake. Then, he helped Han Zhong kill the little snake as well. Brother Lu's combat strength is not bad. Why don't you join our treasure hunting group and search for treasures together? Chapter 2168. Han Zhong invited Lu Ming, hoping that Lu Ming and Chiu Moon would join their group. The others also had hopeful looks on their faces. The strength that Lu Ming had displayed had exceeded their expectations. He was most likely a third-layer martial dominator realm expert, whose strength was even stronger than Han Zhong's. If Lu Ming and Chiu Moon were willing to join them, the strength of their group would increase tremendously. Lu Ming immediately shook his head and rejected the offer. Why would he want to join a group like this? He had only joined Han Zhong's group because he wanted to take a look at the Wuyuan mountain. Seeing Lu Ming's rejection, Han Zhong and the others were disappointed. Brother Lu, I'm old, so I'll give you a word of advice. Although your cultivation is not weak, now that the world is recovering, everyone's cultivation has improved by leaps and bounds. Experts are everywhere, especially when you're searching for sacred herbs and spirit herbs in the vast mountains. You'll encounter even more powerful demonic beasts, and it'll be even more dangerous. Han Zhong did not give up and spoke again. In other words, although Lu Ming's cultivation was not bad, the two of them were not enough. He would need to work with others. Thanks for the reminder. Lu Ming let out a smile, but he still did not accept the offer. Young man, you're too full of yourself. I've seen many confident cultivators like you, who thought they were strong, but they all died in the end. A middle-aged bulky man could not help but mock him. Don't talk nonsense. Han Zhong snapped, causing the bulky man to shut his mouth. Brother Lu, don't mind him. He didn't mean it. Han Zhong explained with a smile. It's fine. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Given his current realm and standing at such a height, he really did not feel anything about these words. Besides, once they reached the Wuyuan mountain and obtained the sacred spiritual fruit, he would not have any interaction with Han Zhong and the others in the future. Following this, Han Zhong plucked the 7 stalks of redbud orchids. Brother Lu, thanks for your help. There are 7 stalks in total, and you can take 3. What do you think? Han Zhong handed 3 stalks of redbud orchids to Lu Ming. 7 redbud orchids for the 6 of them. However, this time, Lu Ming had contributed a lot, so he gave Lu Ming an extra redbud orchid. Lu Ming didn't stand on ceremony. With a wave of his hand, he put away the 3 redbud orchids. Next, everyone continued to head towards 5 Yuan Mountain. Along the way, they obtained a few more saintly medicines, which they divided equally among themselves. Whoosh! Suddenly, a terrifying beam of light shot toward Han Zhong from the mountain peak ahead. Retreat! Han Zhong's expression changed drastically as he retreated at top speed. Boom! The place where he had been standing suddenly exploded, and a large hole appeared. Whoosh! Whoosh! There were a total of 5 or 6 figures rushing towards them from all directions. Their cold murderous intent sent chills down their spines. Not good, it's his treasure-seeking group. Let's go. Let's go. Han Zhong roared and retreated with the others. Treasure-hunting groups would enter various famous mountains and great rivers to search for sacred herbs and spirit herbs. In fact, their greatest danger was not the demonic beasts, but the people of other treasure-hunting groups. If they encountered a powerful treasure-hunting group in the wild, the other party would most likely kill them and steal their treasures. It was obvious that they had stumbled into such a treasure-hunting group. Han Zhong and the others retreated, but their speed was extremely fast. Bang! A terrifying palm print as large as a mountain was thrown in their direction, encapsulating Han Zhong and the others within it. Han Zhong, 2 bulky men, and a middle-aged woman yelled as they tried to resist the palm print. However, Han Zhong was fine as he was only knocked a few steps backward. The others were knocked backward while vomiting blood. 4th layer martial dominator realm. Han Zhong let out a roar. Bang! Bang! 6 figures surrounded them from all directions, each emitting a terrifying aura. 3 3rd layer martial dominators, 2 4th layer martial dominators, and 1 5th layer martial dominator realm. Lu Ming could easily sense the other party's ability. 5th layer martial dominator realm. Han Zhong felt despair. Kill. The 5th layer martial dominator realm expert slashed at Han Zhong with a saber in his hand. There was no way Han Zhong could resist the slash. Han Zhong and the others were filled with despair. However, at that instant, Lu Ming's figure suddenly appeared in front of Han Zhong and slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, Han Zhong was astounded. Even though Lu Ming's cultivation was quite impressive, there was no way he could resist the slash. He would only be courting death if he tried to stop Han Zhong. However, he was stunned the next moment. Lu Ming stretched out 2 fingers and with a gentle pinch, he caught the saber between his fingers. That saber stopped in Lu Ming's hand, unable to move at all. Han Zhong, the 2 bulky men, and the middle-aged woman stared with their eyes wide open. That was a slash from a 5th layer martial dominator realm expert. A 3rd layer martial dominator would be killed by the slash, and a 4th layer martial dominator realm expert would be severely injured. However, Lu Ming had easily caught the saber with 2 fingers. What kind of cultivation was that? What kind of strength was that? The people on the other side stared with their mouths open wide. The 5th layer martial dominator was even more terrified. He was well aware of the power of his slash, but Lu Ming's fingers were as steady as Mount Tai. No matter how hard he tried, he could not move the saber at all. Run, run, leave at once. The 5th layer martial dominator let out a roar. He knew that he had stumbled into a terrifying expert. If he did not leave now, he would die. He immediately let go of the saber and fled from the scene. It's too late to back off now. Lu Ming calmly said as he pinched the saber with his fingers. Clank. The battle saber directly shattered into 6 pieces and shot out explosively. Each piece was aimed at one of the opponents. Puff. 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 Blood splattered everywhere. The 6 experts, whether they were in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th LV, were all pierced through by the fragments of the saber and died on the spot. Han Zhong, the 2 bulky men, and the middle-aged woman stared at the scene with their eyes open wide. Among the 6 cultivators, even the weakest one was on par with Han Zhong, but he had just been killed by Lu Ming in an instant. Lu Ming did not even move from his spot. They could feel a chill running down their spines, as they realized that they had stumbled into a terrifying genius. What was Lu Ming's cultivation? 7th layer martial dominator realm, 8th layer martial dominator realm, or even higher. It took them quite a while to collect their thoughts. Lu Ming. Lu Ming, it's my fault. Please forgive me, one of the bulky men, in particular, apologized to Lu Ming with a reddened face. Previously, he had mocked Lu Ming for being too full of himself as he was not willing to join them. However, he now realized that Lu Ming was not being full of himself. It was obvious that he had the strength to back it up, and that he was not interested in them at all. Their strength was not helpful to Lu Ming at all. Lu Ming smiled faintly, not bothered at all. He waved his hand and collected the storage rings of the 6 cultivators, before saying, "Let's go to Wuyuan Mountain." The group continued their journey toward Wuyuan Mountain. However, Han Zhong and his crew's attitude toward Lu Ming and Qiu Moon underwent a great change, as they were now extremely respectful toward them. After passing through a few mountain ranges, a giant mountain appeared before them, piercing through the clouds. Chapter 2169. Even from afar, Lu Ming could see that there was a big tree at the top of Mount Wuyuan. It was glowing like a divine tree. On the branches of the big tree, there were 9 fruits. They were as red as fire jade and had a medicinal fragrance. Those were the Holy Spirit fruits, but they were not ripe yet. Figures could be seen flashing around the mountain from time to time. They were all treasure hunting groups. However, the Holy Spirit fruits were not ripe yet. Unripe Holy Spirit fruits were useless, so everyone was waiting for the Holy Spirit fruits to ripen. Lu Ming and the others also flew forward. Boom! Ah! A fierce battle broke out in the forest in front of them. 2 treasure hunting groups were fighting each other, and people were killed from time to time. Not long after, one of the treasure hunting groups was killed. His storage ring was taken away, and his corpse was left there forever. The victorious treasure hunting group also noticed Lu Ming and the others. They glanced at them coldly, then left in a flash. As they approached Mount Wuyuan, more and more treasure hunting groups appeared. Lu Ming spread out his spiritual consciousness and found at least 100 treasure hunting groups. There were more than 1,000 of them. These people looked at each other coldly and did not make a move. Obviously, they were waiting for the Holy Spirit fruits to ripen. Once the Holy Spirit fruits ripened, there would be a fierce battle. But for the Holy Spirit fruits, everything was worth it. 1 Holy Spirit fruit could create a Saint Realm elite. 9 Holy Spirit fruits were equivalent to 9 Saint Realm experts. Although the world had changed and everyone's cultivation had skyrocketed, the Saint Realm was still very rare. Every Saint Realm elite was a top elite. Of course, this did not include the elites from Yuanlu, but only those from Divine Wilderness Continent. The elites from Yuanlu were too strong and could not be compared at all. Suddenly, a group of people stepped toward Lu Ming and the others. There were more than a dozen of them. Their auras were violent, and every one of them was an elite. This was a very powerful treasure hunting group. You're such a weak treasure hunting group, and you want to fight for the Holy Spirit fruits? You don't know what's good for you. Hand over your storage rings and get lost. A strong man in his 30s scolded. The faces of Han Zhong and the others turned pale. This treasure hunting group was too strong. They were clearly much stronger than the treasure hunting group that had ambushed them before. Faced with such a treasure hunting group, they had no other choice but to agree to the other party's request. They couldn't help but look at Lu Ming. They hoped that Lu Ming could create a miracle because they were unwilling to hand over their storage rings. The loot in the storage ring was exchanged with their lives. What? Hand over your storage rings. Do you want to die? The burly man's voice turned cold. The other members of the treasure-seeking group watched with cold smiles on their faces. Treasure hunting groups were a profession that had only appeared in recent years. They traveled through various dangerous famous mountains and great rivers, and were accustomed to life and death battles. Without strength, only death awaited. Scram! At this moment, an icy cold voice sounded. It was from Lu Ming. The burly man was stunned. He looked at Lu Ming, thinking that he had misheard. This brat actually told him to scram? Could it be that he had gone mad? Boom! A powerful aura erupted from his body. 7th layer martial dominator realm. The burly man possessed a cultivation of the 7th layer martial dominator realm. The terrifying pressure caused the expressions of the other treasure hunting groups to change. Many of them revealed grave expressions. A 7th layer martial dominator realm cultivator was considered one of the top experts in the treasure hunting group. The pressure of the 7th layer martial dominator realm continued to suppress Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming and Xiao Yu remained calm. Meanwhile, Han Zhong and the others were startled. Their figures began to tremble as if they were being crushed by a huge mountain. Kid, die. The burly man let out a roar and threw a punch in Lu Ming's direction. You're the one that's going to die. Lu Ming said calmly. His eyes flickered with a deathly glow. Following this, a deathly aura appeared from the burly man's figure and encapsulated his figure. The burly man let out a deafening roar, before his figure turned into ashes and disappeared under the crowd's astonished gaze. Hiss hiss hiss, gasps could be heard. A 7th layer martial dominator realm expert had been killed and turned into ashes. Most importantly, no one had seen how Lu Ming had done it. Gulp. Han Zhong and the others swallowed their saliva in astonishment. It seemed like Lu Ming's strength had exceeded their expectations. Do you want to die too? Lu Ming looked at the remaining members of the treasure hunting group. Their faces changed drastically as they retreated frantically. In the blink of an eye, they had disappeared. None of them dared to attack. The rest of the people looked at Lu Ming with awe and respect. This was the result that Lu Ming wanted. In this way, the others would not dare to target them and it would save them a lot of trouble. Who is this young man? I've never seen him before. What terrifying strength. Could he be an expert from Yuanlu? Impossible. Everyone from Yuanlu is extremely terrifying. Ordinary Saint Realm experts are like ants in front of them. There are no weaklings. That's right. However, this young man has such strength despite his young age. Could he be one of the top 10 geniuses of Divine Wilderness Continent? No, I've seen all of the top 10 geniuses. There's no such person. Some people whispered among themselves. Top 10 geniuses? Lu Ming revealed a hint of interest. The crowd continued to wait. Moo! Moo! Suddenly, the deafening roar of a bull could be heard in the distant sky. Then, the crowd saw 5 or 6 giant bulls as big as mountains running towards them. The void rumbled as they stepped on it. There were only 5 or 6 bulls, but they were like an army of thousands of men and horses. The 5 or 6 giant bulls were unbelievably fast. In the blink of an eye, they were above Mount Wuyuan. Then, the bodies of the giant bulls changed rapidly, turning into 6 burly men. A terrifying aura erupted from them, causing everyone's expression to change drastically. It's the experts of Divine Bull Palace. Someone exclaimed in fear. Roar! Roar! At that moment, the roar of a beast could be heard from another direction. The crowd saw a few giant wolves pulling a chariot over. In the blink of an eye, they were above Mount Wuyuan. In the chariot, there were 7 burly men wearing beast skins. It's the people from Barbarian Dragon Palace. Someone exclaimed. Boundary Emperor, complete Saint Realm. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly. He could tell the cultivation of these people at a glance. Half of them were Boundary Emperors, while the rest were complete Saint Realm experts. They were definitely not from Divine Wilderness Continent. Divine Wilderness Continent had only been revived for less than 10 years. It was impossible for such a powerful existence to be born. These people were most likely from Yuanlu. What surprised Lu Ming was that these people were not from Tsang State, Emperor State, or Yun State. Could it be that there are other places besides Tsang State, Yun State, and Emperor State that have teleportation formations that lead to Divine Ruins Continent? Chapter 2170. Lu Ming immediately asked Han Zhong how many forces from the Yuan continent there were in the Divine region. Han Zhong told him that there were a total of 3 forces from the Yuan continent. Each of them was very powerful and had terrifying commanders. They were all high and mighty martial emperors. The 3 factions each occupied an area and divided the Divine Wilderness continent. Among them, the Divine Bull Palace occupied the best position and a part of the Eastern Wilderness and Central Continent. The Barbarian Dragon Palace and the Monarch race occupied other regions. The Monarch race occupied most of the Central Continent. For example, the Dragon Alliance's Dragon Emperor City was under the control of the Monarch race. The Monarch race. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, in the distant sky, more beams of light shot over, and one figure after another appeared in the sky. A few of them were wearing emperor robes and jade crowns, making them look like emperors. There were also a few who were especially burly. They were covered in a thick layer of iron armor and were surrounded by a black light. It was impossible to see their faces clearly. The Monarch race and the Evil God race. The murderous intent in Lu Ming's eyes intensified. It was really the Monarch race. It seemed that Di Shi had really come to the Divine region. As for those who were covered in iron armor, others could not see through them. However, Lu Ming could see that they were from the Evil God race. It was obvious that Di Shi had brought a group of experts to the Divine region and occupied a large area. Even the Dragon Emperor City was occupied by Di Shi. I heard that the Overlord De came from the Monarch race. Han Zhong said softly. I didn't expect you to come too. A burly man from the Divine Bull Palace said. These 9 Saint Spirit fruits are not bad. The Monarch race wants them. A person from the Monarch race said. You want them? What a joke. These 9 Saint Spirit fruits belong to the Barbarian Dragon Palace. A burly man from the Full Dragon Palace said. Powerful auras burst out from the 3 forces. They each occupied a region and confronted each other. All the people in the treasure hunting group sighed. They knew that they had no hope against the arrival of the experts from the 3 major forces of the Yuan continent. These people were too strong. Any one of them could defeat all of them. What do these paragon saints and boundary emperors want the Saint Spirit fruits for? Lu Ming was somewhat puzzled. The Holy Spirit fruit might be rare, but it wasn't of much use to paragon saints or quasi-emperors. Unless it was used to nurture the younger generation. These lowly ants are really an eyesore here. Why don't we get rid of them first? At this time, someone from an emperor clan swept his eyes over everyone from the treasure-seeking group, carrying a trace of arrogance, as well as a trace of disgust. The Divine Wilderness continent was just a corner of the barren land. In their eyes, it was as lowly as an ant. That's good too, lest these people get in the way here. Someone from the Divine Ox Palace also said lightly. Not good. The expressions of everyone in the treasure hunting group changed drastically. Senior, we have no intention of fighting over the Holy Spirit fruit with you. We will leave immediately. Senior, we're leaving right away. Many people cried out in fear as they frantically retreated. Fighting with us for the Holy Spirit fruit? Are you ants even qualified? An Emperor clan expert sneered, walking over. With a wave of his hand, a resplendent sword light erupted, hacking towards a certain direction. Ah, help. Don't. Screams came from that direction. There was no way to resist. Regardless of their cultivation base, they were instantly killed. In an instant, more than a dozen people were killed. Ha ha ha. The Emperor clan expert laughed loudly. In their eyes, the people of the Divine Wilderness continent were not humans, but ants that could be killed at will. Bang! The Divine Ox Palace expert also stepped out, intending to attack. "Let's go, Lu Ming, let's go." Han Zhong's expression changed drastically as he roared. At this moment, a sudden change occurred. At the top of Wuyuan Mountain, the big tree emitted a resplendent light. Among them, the light of the 9 holy spirit fruits was even more brilliant. Rays of multicolored light circulated, and an incomparably rich medicinal fragrance spread in all directions. The holy spirit fruit was about to ripen. The Emperor Clan experts and the Divine Ox Palace experts retracted their steps and looked at the holy spirit fruit. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief, knowing that they were saved. The Yuan continent experts no longer had the intention to deal with them. The holy spirit fruit is ours. The Emperor Clan experts pounced on the holy spirit fruit tree. Get lost. The Divine Ox Palace and the Barbarian Dragon Palace experts also charged over. Boom! Boom! In order to compete for the holy spirit fruit, the 3 forces fell into a chaotic battle. A terrifying battle broke out in the sky above Wuyuan Mountain. How terrifying! Are these the top existences of the Saint Realm? They're too strong. I heard that the Saint Realm is divided into bright saints, supreme saints, absolute saints, and quasi-emperors. Above quasi-emperors are martial emperors. These people are all absolute saints and quasi-emperors. That's right. Quasi-emperors can form a river of laws. The experts of the Yuan continent are too strong. Many people shouted. Back then, no one in the Divine Wilderness continent knew about this. At that time, a first-level martial emperor was an overlord. Third-level martial emperors were legends. Not to mention the Saint Realm. In everyone's impression, the Saint Realm was a legend. No one knew the specific divisions of the Saint Realm. But now, with the recovery of the world, everyone's cultivation had skyrocketed. At the same time, the experts of the Yuan continent had descended. Naturally, news of the higher realms of martial arts had spread. The battle between the 3 forces was extremely intense. Lu Ming, let's take this opportunity to leave. Han Zhong was kind. He wanted to tell Lu Ming and the others to leave quickly. If the 3 forces were to emerge victorious, they would be finished. Let's go. We're here for the Holy Spirit fruit. The Holy Spirit fruit has ripened. Wouldn't it be a pity if we leave without plucking a few? Lu Ming smiled. Then, under the dumbfounded gazes of Han Zhong and the others, he walked toward the Holy Spirit fruit tree. Autumn Moon followed closely behind Lu Ming. Han Zhong and the others were tongue-tied. They were completely stunned. Facing the experts of the 3 forces, Lu Ming wanted to pluck the Holy Spirit fruit. This was an act of courting death. He was definitely courting death. The 3 forces were from the Yuan continent. Some of them were quasi-emperors. They were so strong that they could kill them with a single breath. No matter how strong Lu Ming was, it was impossible for him to be a match for the absolute saints and quasi-emperors. It was impossible. The strongest experts of the Divine Wilderness continent had just broken through to the Bright Saint Realm. They were too far away from the people of the Yuan continent. Even if Lu Ming was from the Yuan continent, how could he compete with quasi-emperors at such a young age? They weren't the only ones. When the other treasure hunters saw Lu Ming and Autumn Moon walking toward the Holy Spirit fruit tree, they were all stunned. What are those 2 doing? Are they trying to fish in troubled waters and pluck the Holy Spirit fruit? They're courting death. They're courting death. They must be blind. They're crazy. Everyone thought that Lu Ming was courting death. He was dead meat. Plucking the Holy Spirit fruit right under the nose of the absolute saints and quasi-emperors was courting death. Chapter 2171. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon were very fast. In the blink of an eye, they were close to the Holy Spirit fruit tree. Lu Ming stretched out a hand. With a grab, a huge hand condensed and grabbed a Holy Spirit fruit, putting it away. Then, he reached for the second one. "You're courting death." An elite of the Monarch race shouted and slashed a sword light at Lu Ming. That was an elite of the Great Circle of the Absolute Saint Realm. In the eyes of everyone in the Divine Wilderness continent, that sword was extremely terrifying. It was impossible to resist. Even if one was swept by the sword light, one would be smashed to pieces. "That kid is dead meat." Someone sneered. Han Zhong and the other three shook their heads and sighed. But in the next moment, their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Lu Ming did not even bother to look at it. With a slap, he smashed the sword gleam into smithereens. Then, he took the opportunity to grab another Holy Spirit fruit with his palm. He blocked it? No, he didn't block it. He shattered the sword light. Everyone had a dumbfounded expression on their faces. Han Zhong and the other three were the same. Not only did Lu Ming block the sword light, but he also shattered it with a palm. It seemed easy. The elite of the Monarch race narrowed his eyes and then burst out cold murderous intent. Kill. He abandoned his opponent and charged at Lu Ming with the Emperor's sword in his hand. The sword light rushed into the sky and slashed at Lu Ming. "Phantom spirit." Lu Ming whispered. He stepped in the void and endless runes appeared. Then, these runes turned into a black shadow like a Grim Reaper holding a Grim Reaper scythe. It was really the law of Array Dao, the Phantom Spirit Scroll. The Phantom Spirit Scroll could transform into any creature. Lu Ming used the Phantom Spirit Scroll to transform into a Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper held the Grim Reaper scythe and slashed at the elite of the Monarch race. The first slash made the elite of the Monarch race retreat and vomit blood. The second slash made the elite of the Monarch race lose his head. Gulp. Gulp. The sound of saliva being swallowed was heard. Everyone was truly stunned. The scene was deathly silent. In the eyes of the people of the Divine Barren continent, an expert of the complete Saint Realm was invincible. But now, he had been killed by Lu Ming's Grim Reaper with 2 slashes. What kind of battle prowess was this? Could this young man be a quasi-emperor? This scene caused the people from the other 3 factions of Yuan continent to reveal grave expressions. Lu Ming grabbed the 3rd Holy Spirit fruit after killing one of the D clan members. "Everyone, why don't we join forces and kill this person before fighting for the Holy Spirit fruit?" A quasi-emperor from the Emperor clan spoke. "That's exactly what I was thinking. This person is too arrogant and doesn't put us in his eyes at all. He deserves to die." A person from the Divine Ox Palace said coldly. Soon, the 3 sides reached an agreement and stopped fighting. Then, they suddenly charged towards Lu Ming. "Brat, you dare to kill someone from my Emperor clan? Die. How dare you pluck the Holy Spirit fruit? Die. Kill." The experts from the Emperor clan, the Divine Ox Palace, and the Barbarian Dragon Palace all charged towards Lu Ming, including the quasi-emperors. Their power was terrifying to the extreme. Even if Lu Ming was a quasi-emperor, he would be instantly killed. However, although Lu Ming was a quasi-emperor, he was no ordinary quasi-emperor. Boom! Lu Ming unleashed his power and slashed out with his palm. This palm strike was like a heavenly blade that could even slice through space. One had to know that the current Divine Barren continent was no longer the same as before. The space was now incomparably stable and was almost comparable to Yuan continent. Even a quasi-emperor could not break through space. Everyone's attacks were completely destroyed. A terrifying power surged out. Nearly 20 experts trembled violently and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. They were severely injured. A few of the weaker ones' bodies directly exploded. Phantom. Then, Lu Ming stretched out his hand and pointed. Endless runes appeared and turned into dozens of Grim Reapers. These Grim Reapers were not purely formed from array laws. They also contained other laws. The dozens of Grim Reapers charged towards the people from the 3 factions. Pfft! Pft! Pft! Blood splattered everywhere and heads rolled. The people from the three factions were already severely injured by Lu Ming's move. How could they withstand the attacks of the Grim Reapers? They were instantly killed one by one. In just a few breaths, all the experts from the three factions were killed. Not a single one was left alive. Lu Ming also plucked the 9 holy spirit fruits one by one. It seems that the legend is wrong. A holy spirit fruit can't directly create a saint. Lu Ming grabbed the last holy spirit fruit and carefully sized it up. With Lu Ming's current insight and his understanding of alchemy laws, he could clearly see the medicinal effects of some sacred medicines. It was impossible for the holy spirit fruit to directly create a saint realm expert after consuming it, as the legend had it. However, if a third stage half-saint consumed it, it could indeed increase the chances of becoming a saint and increase the chances of condensing a saint heart. Speaking of which, it was a rare and precious fruit. At this moment, everyone was petrified. Some people rubbed their eyes desperately, thinking that they were dreaming. The experts from the three factions from the Yuan continent, including many boundary emperors, were killed by Lu Ming just like that. In particular, Han Zhong and the other 3 were indescribably shocked. After all, Lu Ming had come with them. Especially the burly man, who had previously mocked Lu Ming. At this moment, he was drenched in cold sweat and had a lingering fear. If Lu Ming wanted to argue with him, he could kill him with a puff of his breath. Autumn Moon, let's go. Lu Ming smiled and walked away with Autumn Moon. When he passed by Han Zhong and the other 3, he waved his hand and a force wrapped around the 4 of them and brought them away. It took a while for the others to react. Instantly, there was an uproar. They guessed that Lu Ming should be an expert from the Yuan continent. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to be so strong. However, they did not know Lu Ming's name. Therefore, the name Black-Faced Death God spread and shook the entire Divine Wilderness continent. Lu Ming led Han Zhong and the other 3 and traveled thousands of miles in an instant. They only stopped when they were out of the mountain range. All right, it's safe here. Lu Ming left these words behind and left with Autumn Moon. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared. Han Zhong and the other 3 were in a daze. Then, they sighed. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon headed south. Soon, they left the northern plains and arrived at the Middle Continent. The Middle Continent was extremely prosperous. Large cities stood between the heavens and the earth. This was not there in the past. Clearly, it was built in recent years. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon found a large city and walked in. Lu Ming wanted to find out about the current situation of the Dragon Alliance and how the members of the Dragon Alliance were doing. The best place to find out was a restaurant. This was a human characteristic. In a restaurant, one could reveal many secrets while eating, drinking, and chatting. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon walked into a large restaurant. They ordered some food and wine and started eating. Lu Ming spread out his spiritual consciousness and eavesdropped on the conversations of others. Chapter 2172. Voices entered Lu Ming's ears one after another. It's really a great era now. The world has changed, precious herbs are everywhere, and experts are emerging in large numbers. My cultivation can also break through to the martial emperor realm. An old man with snow-white hair sighed with a complicated expression. Originally, with his talent, he could only break through to the spirit god realm and didn't have much lifespan left. However, when he was about to die, the world had changed and everything had recovered. His cultivation had also advanced by leaps and bounds. He had even broken through to the martial emperor realm not long ago and his lifespan had increased greatly. How could he not sigh? The world was now rich in origin chi. Not only had the cultivation speed increased greatly, but there were also some sacred fruits that could transform one's bloodline and achieve evolution. It could be said to be terrifying. However, there were only a few of those sacred herbs. Still, many people had obtained them and their talents had increased greatly. Yeah, the cultivation environment now is too good. It was unimaginable in the past. Didn't you see that even the experts of Yuanlu have come to occupy the territory? Speaking of which, there's a big event that will start soon. It's about the three major forces of Yuanlu. I heard that the three major forces of Yuanlu will have a battle in 3 months to redivide the territory. Is there such a thing? Many people in the restaurant were shocked. I heard it through the grapevine. It's probably going to be made public soon. There's no doubt that the Eastern Wilderness has the best environment. Many people are coveting it. Now, it's occupied by the Divine Bull Palace. The Monarch clan and the Barbarian Dragon Palace both want to occupy the Eastern Wilderness. There will definitely be a battle. That's right. However, the three major forces of Yuanlu seem to have similar strength. Once the battle starts, there will be heavy casualties. No, I heard that the three major forces will use a special method this time. The three major forces will send out their young geniuses to fight. Moreover, they must be the local geniuses of Divine Wilderness. The division of territory will be decided according to their achievements. There's actually such a thing? A battle between the local geniuses of Divine Wilderness? Looks like there'll be a good show in 3 months. Many people in the restaurant were interested and gathered around the person who knew the grapevine. Being surrounded by so many people, that person enjoyed it very much. He rattled on and on, talking a bunch more. That person said that the battle in 3 months would most likely be held in the former headquarters of the Dragon Alliance, the Dragon Emperor City. Currently, the Dragon Emperor City was occupied by Indra. I wonder about Dad and Mom. Are they in Dragon Emperor City? A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He was also worried. Speaking of geniuses, the Divine Wilderness is now filled with geniuses. Especially the top 10 geniuses. They are all dragons and phoenixes among men. Their cultivations are unfathomable. That's right. It's said that the top 10 prodigies are all disciples of Yuan Land's experts. How can they not be strong? Especially the number 1 prodigy, Ren Qianqing. He's an unrivaled prodigy that's rarely seen in all of history. His talent is unparalleled, and even Sakra Buddha has personally taken him in as a disciple. Yes, speaking of Ren Qianqing, this child is indeed shocking. No one can compare to him now. In my opinion, only the leader of the Dragon Alliance, Lu Ming, can compare to Ren Qianqing. Indeed. Everyone continued to discuss. Towards the end, the topic actually shifted to Lu Ming. They were completely unaware that the main character was sitting right there. Humph, a bunch of ignorant people. What do you know? At this moment, a cold laugh resounded throughout the restaurant. Then, a young man walked out of one of the private rooms. This person was skinny and his eyes were long and narrow. As he blinked, a sharp glint flashed across his eyes. Young master, what do you think? The old man who had been discussing just now cupped his fists and asked. A bunch of fools. How dare you talk about the heroes of the world? Who does Lu Ming think he is? How can he be compared to Ren Qianqing? He's not even fit to carry Ren Qianqing's shoes. Let's not talk about Ren Qianqing. Which one of the top 10 prodigies can compare to Lu Ming? The skinny young man sneered. Everyone else's expression changed. However, when they thought about it, things were different now. Back then, what was Lu Ming's cultivation level? He hadn't even broken through to the martial emperor realm. Now, the top 10 prodigies' cultivation levels were unfathomable. It was said that many of them had reached the sage-to-be realm. The difference was too great. The achievements of these prodigies were indeed far above Lu Ming's. Humph, if Lu Ming was still here, any one of the top 10 prodigies would be able to suppress him. The skinny young man said again. You're boasting shamelessly. The leader of the Dragon Alliance is the best of all time. How can those so-called prodigies be compared to the leader of the Dragon Alliance? What a joke. At that moment, a cold voice was heard. Who is it? Come out. the skinny young man shouted coldly. Then, footsteps were heard from the stairs of the restaurant. A young man and a young woman walked up. Xiao Shan, Xiao Rou. Lu Ming's eyes lit up in surprise. The young man and woman were Lu Ming's in-name disciples, Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiaorou. What a coincidence. He didn't expect to meet them here. After more than 10 years, the two of them had matured a lot. They looked like they were in their 20s and had extraordinary auras. However, the two of them both had angry expressions on their faces. They were furious that Lu Ming had been humiliated. Who are you? The skinny young man asked with a cold smile. Zhuang Xiaoshan. Zhuang Xiaorou. The two of them reported their names. So it's you. The two disciples of the legendary Lu Ming. Hee, what's the matter? Are you trying to avenge your master? However, I'm telling the truth. Your master might have been good in the past, but now, he's just average. How can he be compared to the current top 10 elites? The skinny young man sneered and his voice was filled with mockery. Before the world changed, my master came from a remote place in the eastern wilderness. He went against the flow and fought against the heroes of the world. In the end, he defeated all the overlords of the divine region and created the Dragon Alliance. Such a battle record has never been seen before. Who can compare to him? The so-called 10 great prodigies are merely relying on the good environment and the guidance of Yuan Lu's experts to have some achievements. Compared to my master, they are nothing. Zhuang Xiaoshan said loudly. How dare you? The skinny young man shouted and his body emitted a cold murderous intent. Kneel down and slap your own mouth. Take back what you just said. Hee, I'm just telling the truth. If my master hadn't left, there wouldn't be any top 10 elites. When my master was still around, Ren Qianqing was nothing. He didn't even have the right to meet my master. Zhuang Xiaoshan sneered and stood straight. He was not afraid of the skinny young man. You really know how to flatter yourself. Today, I, Li Ku, will have a taste of the skills of the Dragon Alliance leader's disciple. The skinny young man's face turned colder and his murderous intent flashed. His cold aura caused the temperature in the restaurant to drop rapidly. What? He's Li Ku, one of the top 10 elites. After the skinny young man said his name, someone exclaimed. This skinny young man was one of the top 10 elites. No wonder he was furious when Zhuang Xiaoshan said that the top 10 elites were not as good as Lu Ming. I heard that Li Ku is Ren Qianqing's loyal supporter and has a good relationship with him. Someone said softly. Chapter 2173. Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiaorou knew that the top 10 elites of the divine wilderness were all very talented. Most importantly, they were disciples of the elites of Yuan continent and had cultivated powerful realm martial techniques. Their combat strength was unfathomable and they might not be able to defeat them. However, they had no choice but to fight now that Lu Ming's reputation was at stake. Let's go out and fight. Zhuang Xiaoshan said. He then flew out of the window in a flash. Zhuang Xiaorou followed him. Hee. Li Ku's eyes flashed coldly as he flew out as well. Let's go and have a look. The people in the restaurant also flew out one after another, wanting to go and watch the show. Autumn Moon, let's go out as well. Lu Ming said to Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon nodded and the two of them flew out of the restaurant. Lu Ming knew that Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiaorou were no match for Li Ku. Currently, Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiaorou's cultivation were rank 8 martial royal realm. Compared to back then, he was already many times stronger. Originally, it would have been difficult for them to reach this stage with their talents. However, the world had changed. When the world had changed, the elites of Yuan continent had yet to arrive. The Dragon Alliance was the ruler of the divine wilderness and they must have obtained many sacred medicine spiritual roots. As Lu Ming's unofficial disciples, Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiaorou must have obtained a lot of benefits. It was not surprising that their cultivation had reached this stage. However, Li Ku was more powerful. He was a rank 1 sage to be and was much stronger than the two of them. Zhuang Xiaoshan, Zhuang Xiaoro, and Li Ku stood facing each other in the sky. They were surrounded by people. Many people became interested when they heard that Li Ku was one of the top 10 elites and Lu Ming's disciple was one of the Dragon Alliance's former leader. The two of you, attack together. Let's end this quickly. I'm going to have a drink. Li Ku said confidently. I'll fight you alone. Zhuang Xiaoshan stepped forward and a long spear appeared in his hand. Boom! He pressed the long spear down and the realm of earth spread out toward Li Ku. Insignificant skill. Li Ku sneered. The sword light in his hand exploded and soared into the sky, slashing out. Zhuang Xiaoshan's earth domain was split apart by Li Ku's sword light. Zhuang Xiaoshan retreated quickly, but there was still a sword wound on his chest that was bleeding profusely. One move and Zhuang Xiaoshan was injured. Ha ha ha, what a piece of trash. You can't even block a single move. So this is Lu Ming's disciple. You can see that Lu Ming isn't that great. You guys even bragged about how powerful he is. Li Ku laughed mockingly. You're not allowed to insult my master. My talent is foolish, not even a 10,000th of my master's. Zhuang Xiaoshan shouted as his eyes turned red. You're still bragging. I said, both of you can come at me together. Li Ku looked at Zhuang Xiaoro and said disdainfully. Zhuang Xiaoro stepped forward and stood beside Zhuang Xiaoshan. Boom! Boom! The two sides started fighting again. This time, Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiaoro joined forces to fight Li Ku. However, they were still no match for him. In just a few moves, Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiaoro were defeated. Ha ha ha, what a piece of trash. Even if your master is here, he won't be a match for me. Li Ku laughed maniacally. Shut up. Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiaoro shouted. How dare you be so arrogant after being defeated? Today, I'll cripple the both of you and turn you into a real piece of trash. Li Ku's eyes turned cold as he charged towards Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiaoro. His sword light was powerful. I'll fight you to the death. Zhuang Xiaoshan roared and swept out with his spear. It was as if Mount Tai was pressing down. Xiaoshan, Xiaoro, your talent is still too weak. In the crowd, Lu Ming shook his head. Then, he took a step forward and a surge of energy silently entered Zhuang Xiaoshan's body. Other than Xiao Autumn Moon, no one else noticed this. Child's play, break. Li Ku shouted arrogantly as his sword light burst forth. He wanted to break Zhuang Xiaoro's spear attack and cripple Zhuang Xiaoshan. Boom! Suddenly, Zhuang Xiaoshan's spear attack increased in power. The spear light became 1,000 meters long and pressed down on Li Ku like a mountain range. Li Ku's sword light was like a candle flame that was extinguished as soon as it appeared. How is this possible? Ah! Li Ku screamed in disbelief. Then, Zhuang Xiaoro's spear attack pressed down on Li Ku and he fell to the ground like a dead dog. A huge pit was formed as he lay there and vomited blood. What? What's going on? Zhuang Xiaoshan was stunned. He suddenly felt a surge of energy entering his body and increasing his strength. Someone is helping me. Zhuang Xiaoshan immediately thought of this. Zhuang Xiaoro, who was beside him, was also stunned. When did Zhuang Xiaoshan become so powerful all of a sudden? Around them, the others were also dumbfounded. Just a moment ago, Zhuang Xiaoshan was completely suppressed by Li Ku. How did Zhuang Xiaoshan become a different person in the blink of an eye? He completely suppressed Li Ku and severely injured him. What's going on? Boom! How could Zhuang Xiaoshan miss such an opportunity? He took a step forward and a terrifying force pressed down on Li Ku. Li Ku screamed and used all his strength to defend himself. However, Zhuang Xiaoshan was now supported by Lu Ming's strength. How could he defend himself? The powerful force was like an ancient mountain pressing down on Li Ku. Li Ku was like a toad with his 4 limbs on the ground. He kept twisting, but it was useless. Under the pressure of the force, he screamed and vomited blood. He was in a terrible state. Who is it? Who is helping him? My master is a boundary emperor from the Monarch race. Who are you? Tell me your name. Li Ku screamed. He was not stupid. He immediately realized that there must be an expert secretly helping Zhuang Xiaoshan. Otherwise, Zhuang Xiaoshan's strength would not have increased so much. The spectators around them were also stunned. It was most likely that someone was secretly helping Zhuang Xiaoshan. Who is it? Come out if you have the ability. Those who dare to go against the Monarch race will not have a good ending. Li Ku screamed. Hee, you are a person from the divine wilderness continent. When did you become a member of the Monarch race? Perhaps, you are just a dog of the Monarch race? A faint voice sounded and Lu Ming stepped forward. You are the one who attacked? Li Ku glared at Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled faintly. It was equivalent to admitting it. You dare to go against the Monarch race? The Monarch race will not let you go. Li Ku screamed. I will visit the Monarch race sooner or later. Tell Di Shi Tian to wash his neck and wait. Lu Ming said coldly with killing intent. Many people were shocked. Lu Ming was too arrogant. Tell Di Shi Tian to wash his neck and wait. Who was Di Shi Tian? He was a martial emperor expert, a peerless expert from the Yuan continent. This dark-skinned young man was too arrogant. Also, 3 months later, the 2 of them will challenge you in the Imperial Dragon City. They will defeat you with their own cultivation. So, I will not kill you today. Get lost. Chapter 2174. Many people turned to look at Lu Ming. Lu Ming looked very young, but his strength was unfathomable. Previously, he secretly helped Zhuang Xiaoshan and was able to crush Li Ku. How strong was his cultivation? However, his tone was too arrogant. He actually asked Sakura to wash his neck and wait for death. He was too arrogant. Many people secretly shook their heads, thinking that Lu Ming was just spouting nonsense. Thank you, Senior, for your help. Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiao walked over and thanked Lu Ming. At the same time, they were also surprised. They had never seen Lu Ming before, so they didn't know why Lu Ming helped them. Follow me, Lu Ming said. After that, he turned around and walked out of the city. Qiu Yu followed Lu Ming. Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiao looked at each other and followed Lu Ming obediently. Soon, they were out of the city and came to a remote place. There was no one here. At this moment, Lu Ming stopped and turned around. You 2 little guys, long time no see, Lu Ming said with a smile. Now, he didn't disguise his voice and returned to his original voice. Hearing this voice, Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiao's body shook violently. Their eyes widened in disbelief. Then, the disbelief turned into endless joy. Master, is it really you? Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiao asked in surprise. Lu Ming smiled. His appearance began to change and he returned to his original appearance. Looking at Lu Ming's appearance, which had not changed much over 10 years ago, the 2 of them trembled even more violently. Master, you're back. The 2 spoke incoherently, especially Zhuang Xiao. She was so emotional that she cried. Still crying? How old are you now? Lu Ming smiled and wiped away Zhuang Xiao's tears. After a while, the 2 siblings finally calmed down. Master, when did you come back? Why didn't you tell us? Zhuang Xiao smiled. I just came back not long ago. When I came back, I discovered that the world had changed greatly. I was afraid that you would be controlled by Yuan continent's experts, so I didn't transmit my voice to you. I wanted to secretly gather information. Lu Ming said, and then asked, what's the situation now? Are Xiao Wan and the others okay? And my parents? Senior Xiao Wan and the others have always been controlled by the Emperor clan, forced to work for the Emperor clan. On the other hand, Grand Preceptor Master and Grand Preceptor Madam are fine. They are not far from here. Zhuang Xiaoshan said. The Grand Preceptor and Grand Preceptor Madam he was talking about were Lu Ming's parents. My parents are not far away. Lu Ming was delighted. Great Grand Preceptor Master and Great Grand Preceptor Master's cultivation base is relatively weak. Therefore, the Emperor clan didn't care about it and left Dragon Emperor City long ago. Now, they are together with Senior Mo Tian and Kong Jin. Zhuang Xiao said. Senior Ma Tian, fatty? Let's go, take me there. Lu Ming said. Immediately, Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiao led Lu Ming and Autumn Moon towards the south. On the way, Autumn Moon also returned to her original appearance. The Zhuang siblings were so surprised that they almost called Autumn Moon Grand Preceptor Madam. Later, they found out about Autumn Moon's true identity. On the way, Lu Ming asked the siblings about what had happened in the past few years. The siblings talked about it in detail, allowing Lu Ming to understand more about the situation in the Divine Wilderness continent. Soon, they arrived at a mountain range. This mountain range was majestic and magnificent. They kept flying towards a valley. From afar, they could see a few wooden houses in the valley. Grand Preceptor Master, Grand Preceptor Madam, from afar, the Zhuang siblings shouted. From the wooden house, a figure walked out. From afar, Lu Ming saw his parents. It's Xiao Shan. Xiao is back, Li Ping smiled, but in the next moment, Li Ping's voice stopped abruptly. She saw Lu Ming and couldn't take her eyes off him. At the same time, Lu Yuntian also saw Lu Ming. Like Li Ping, he couldn't take his eyes off him. Ming, it's really you. Ming, you're back. Old man, help me take a look. Am I seeing things? Am I seeing Ming, again? Li Ping muttered to herself. As she spoke, tears flowed down her cheeks. You're not seeing things. Ming, is back. Lu Yuntian said with a trembling voice. Lu Ming's nose turned sour. It had been more than 10 years since they had left in a hurry. In the martial world, the concept of time was different from ordinary people. Seclusion could last for a few years. However, after not seeing each other for more than 10 years, the two elders must have missed him very much. Moreover, Lu Ming was going to the Yuanlu continent alone. The dangers were unknown. It would be strange if they weren't worried. Father, mother. Lu Ming took a few steps forward and came to the two elders. Li Ping held Lu Ming's hand and looked at him carefully. She was completely speechless as tears flowed down her cheeks. I say, why are you crying? It's a good thing that Ming, is back. Why are you crying? You're really a woman. Lu Yuntian said. However, his eyes were also filled with tears. Ming, let your friend take a seat inside, Lu Yuntian said as he looked at Autumn Moon. He was stunned when he saw her. Autumn. Autumn Moon. Lu Yuntian couldn't believe it. Li Ping also looked at Xiao Yu. She was also stunned. Autumn Moon, Autumn Moon. It's really you. You're back too. Li Ping was extremely surprised. Autumn Moon's eyes were already filled with tears. She couldn't hold it in anymore. She rushed into Li Ping's arms and said, Madam, Master, Autumn Moon is back. Autumn Moon is back to see you. It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. Li Ping stroked Autumn Moon's hair and was extremely happy. In their hearts, Autumn Moon was like their daughter. However, it had been almost 20 years since they last saw each other. Naturally, they were excited to see each other again. After a long while, everyone calmed down. Li Ping pulled Xiao Yu aside and asked her a lot of questions. Lu Ming, ha ha ha, it's really you. At this moment, two burly figures flew over. Lu Ming smiled when he saw them. Who else could it be if it wasn't Fatty Kong Jean? The other one was the demonic Sky Divine Emperor. Of course, Lu Ming found that the demonic Sky Divine Emperor was no longer an emperor. His cultivation had reached the minor achievement of the Bright Divine Realm. That made sense. When the origin chi was scarce, those who could break through to the martial emperor realm were definitely top-notch in terms of talent, wisdom, and perseverance. Moreover, at the beginning of the world's metamorphosis, those martial emperors had an absolute advantage and could obtain a lot of resources. Therefore, it was not surprising that the demonic Sky Divine Emperor had broken through to the sacred realm. Perhaps those emperors back then had all broken through to the sacred realm. As for Fatty Kong Jean, his cultivation was also different from before. He had reached the third stage of the half-saint realm. However, his body had become even fatter. He looked like a meatball. Fatty. Lu Ming said with a smile. Ha ha ha. Come, give me a hug. The fatty dashed toward Lu Ming like a physical body. His fats wobbled like waves. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.